Chapter 1122. Han Tianhe's strength might not be enough to represent the Miao family in the Blood Oath Extreme fight. However, with Lu Yenshan's special fei, he was qualified to represent the Miao family in the Blood Oath Extreme fight. Such an expert was publicly sent to help other factions in the Blood Oath Extreme fight. What was the Miao family trying to do? It was no longer a secret that Miao Zhou and Miao Qi had been chased out of the Nix conference. Those factions that were not on good terms with the Miao family were very willing to release this information. Now, even some rising factions that were not presentable had heard of the Miao family's scandal at the Nix conference and were waiting to see the drama. Logically speaking, the Miao family should choose to protect themselves at such a time. However, the Miao family had made such a big move. Putting everything else aside, just the fact that the Miao family had sent 2 Emperor-class experts to help the Zheng family in the Blood Oath Extreme fight was too much. Emperor-class experts had obviously exceeded the scope of the veteran faction's martial power. In fact, it was not like there had not been similar situations in the past. Li Yun Avian Can had risen very quickly and had been expanding the flying-type Fey market. The market was only so big, and as Li Yun Avian Can continued to expand the market, it naturally touched the cake of other factions. Not long after Li Yun Avian Can had become a veteran faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction was greatly offended by Li Yun Avian Can's unbridled expansion. This veteran faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction realized that Li Yun Avian Can's top expert strength was not proportional to the faction's development in business. This faction simply chose to have the Blood Oath Extreme fight with Li Yun Avian Can and wanted to completely annex Li Yun Avian Can's expanded business after the Blood Oath Extreme fight. They would then take another step forward and break through the gap to become a Pinnacle faction. However, that faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction did not expect Li Yun Avian Can to have the support of the Pinnacle faction, Coiling Dragon Valley. At that time, Coiling Dragon Valley had only lent Li Yun Avian Can, a newly promoted Emperor-class expert. In the end, Li Yun Avian Can won the Blood Oath Extreme fight with the help of the Emperor-class expert assigned by Coiling Dragon Valley. After this incident, Li Yun Avian Can was saved and annexed the resources of the faction that was only one step away from the Pinnacle faction. This allowed Li Yun Yao Can to charge into the ranks of the top forces in just a few years after becoming a veteran force. However, the act of assigning an Emperor-level powerhouse to help a veteran faction, the Blood Oath battle, had a significant impact on Coiling Dragon Valley's reputation. Until many years later, as the public opinion of other forces continued to ferment, the dark history of the Coiling Dragon Valley was slowly forgotten. However, people would still occasionally bring it up. Among them, the Beast Creation Garden was the one that used this dark history to smear the reputation of the Coiled Dragon Valley the most. But now, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was many times more overboard than Coiled Dragon Valley. Many top powers that had wavered in their cooperation with the Beast Creation Garden because of the commotion at the Nix conference had sent people over to watch the Blood Oath battle. When they saw Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan standing beside Gu Han, the spectators from the top forces frowned. The Hearthstone Du clan member couldn't help but curse. The table manners of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden are too unsightly. Was it because the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden had a feud with Sky City because of the cooperation between Sky City and Du Immortal Garden? Or was it because the Miao family coveted the high-class creation master resources of Sky City? If that was the case, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden could totally initiate the Blood Oath battle with Sky City. As a top faction, it was a little bad for the Miao family to publicly request for a Blood Oath battle with the newly established Sky City. However, sending 2 veteran Emperor-level experts to use the Zheng family to get rid of Sky City was a little too despicable. Gu Han had already seen the list of members from both sides of the Blood Oath battle. Therefore, Gu Han wasn't surprised that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan would help the Zheng family with the Blood Oath battle. However, when she thought of the people sent by Sky City, Gu Han couldn't help but look at Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan with a playful gaze. Zheng Ji also braced himself and walked to the center of the extreme arena. Zheng Ji wanted to stand beside Gu Han as the Zheng family's representative, but Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan occupied the position in front of him without any intention of giving up their position to Zheng Ji. As the head of the Zheng family, Zheng Ji could only stand behind Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan with a livid expression. On the other side of the extreme arena, Lin Yuan nodded at Zhou Luo and Endless Summer. Zhou Luo and Endless Summer, who were wearing the sky blue cloud attire, walked toward Gu Han's side under Lin Yuan's instructions. Upon seeing that Sky City had only sent 2 people to the center of the extreme arena, the crowd suddenly burst into a frenzy of discussion. Damn! Could it be that Sky City's 3rd participant of the Blood Oath duel had deserted? Why are there only 2 people heading to the center of the extreme arena? It's not strange for them to flee. If it were me, I would be afraid too. I'm sure Sky City's city lord is scared out of his wits. He accepted the Blood Oath battle from a veteran faction, but who would have thought that the enemy would be at the level of a top faction? Have you heard of the Beast Creation Garden's Lu Yenshan? The main Fae, the Ghost Sky Beast, is said to be the strongest spiritual type Fae of the same grade. It is said that the target that the Ghost Sky Beast looks at will fall into endless fear. In fact, under extreme fear, the target will even have the emotion of submitting to the Ghost Sky Beast out of fear. From what I see, Sky City is gone. Damn it! How am I going to snatch the fate letter without Sky City? Goddamn Beast Creation Garden. Goddamn Jing family. When I go back today, I'm going to write a 500,000-word essay on Star Web to scold the Zheng and Miao families. Endless Summer and Zhou Luo heard the clamor from the audience seats. Endless Summer thought that Zhou Luo would be nervous. Endless Summer immediately wanted to use her aura to cover Zhou Luo and reduce his nervousness. Unexpectedly, Zhou Luo wasn't nervous at all. Instead, he straightened his back and walked forward in high spirits. At that moment, Zhou Luo didn't seem to be just a king-class expert. Zhou Luo, who was walking forward, had the aura of a pinnacle emperor-class expert with every step. Endless Summer turned to look at Zhou Luo's eyes through his mask and realized that he was looking at Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe with eyes full of contempt. It was as though he was looking at 2 ants in trash. As for Jing Ji, who was standing behind Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe, Zhou Luo didn't even bother with him. Endless Summer suddenly recalled that Zhou Luo had just said to Lin Yuan, "Act well." Endless Summer, who had been staying in the Spirit Heron Chamber of Commerce, suddenly recalled that Zhou Luo had been fooling around with Fei Qianxiong in the middle of the night. Could he have learned his acting skills at that time? Chapter 1123. Seeing the aura in Zhou Luo's eyes, Endless Summer felt that Zhou Luo's acting skills were much better than Fei Qianxiong's. Gu Han asked when she saw Endless Summer and Zhou Luo walk in front of her. "Is everyone from Sky City here?" Endless Summer did not speak. Since Zhou Luo wanted to show off his acting skills, Zhou Luo would answer the questions of the person in charge of the arena. At this moment, Zhou Luo spoke calmly. That one word was filled with 3 parts coldness, 3 parts cynicism and 4 parts indifference. Gu Han was stunned for a moment when she heard Zhou Luo's snort. After making sure that Zhou Luo did not continue, Gu Han pouted in pain. She was the person in charge of the arena. Did he have to be so cold to her? Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had already arrived before Zhou Luo. They saw Zhou Luo's eyes through the mask. They were stunned when they saw Zhou Luo's eyes. They could see deep disdain in Zhou Luo's eyes. This disdain made Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's hearts tremble. They subconsciously circulated the spirit energy in their bodies to sense Zhou Luo's strength. In the end, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan only felt that they had been teased and insulted. Wasn't he just a small king-class expert? Why was he pretending to be powerful here? Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan did not like crowds. They helped the Zheng family with the Blood Oath duel to carry out Miao Zhenshan's orders. They knew that the Miao family helping the Zheng family with the Blood Oath duel would cause great damage to the Miao family's reputation. Therefore, they did not want to come to the arena. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were both hot-tempered. Lu Yenshan, in particular, was so hot-tempered that he could not even light a fire. The anger that was born from being teased by Zhou Luo immediately turned into a burning rage after Zhou Luo replied with a Lu Yenshan said angrily, "Lady Gu Han, I would like to request to change the Blood Oath duel's fighting style. The original one-on-one beast cage battle has been changed to a group battle. This way the battle can end faster." There were 2 ways to fight in the Blood Oath duel. Under normal circumstances, it would be a one-on-one beast cage duel. The one-on-one fierce beast cage duel required both sides to send out 1 expert each. After 1 expert was killed, another expert would immediately replace him. After killing an enemy expert, The winner could choose whether to continue the battle or send another expert from his faction to compete based on the strength of the new enemy expert. This kind of one-on-one beast cage extreme battle was the tacit way of the Blood Oath extreme battle. Without any special requests from either side, the Blood Oath extreme battle would be carried out in a one-on-one beast cage format. However, the Blood Oath extreme battle still had another way of fighting, which was a group fight. This way the members of both sides would go up on stage and fight freely. Group battles weren't commonly used, and very few forces would take the initiative to bring it up during the Blood Oath extreme battle. Firstly, it was because a group fight might cause the phase of the two enemy experts to form a link and enhance each other. Secondly, it was easy to lose health in a group battle. It was not as easy to control as a one-on-one beast cage match. When Gu Han heard Lu Yenshan's request, she turned to look at Zhou Luo and Endless Summer. If the Blood Oath extreme battle wanted to change the established duel to a group battle, it required both factions' approval. The moment Gu Han turned to look at Endless Summer and Zhou Luo, Xing Ji, who was standing behind Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, knew that he had been completely ignored by Gu Han. When Gu Han heard Lu Yenshan's suggestion to change the duel format, she didn't even ask if the Zheng family had agreed to it. The Zheng family's Blood Oath extreme battle made the Zheng family head seem like an outsider. Endless Summer didn't say anything and decided to let Zhou Luo answer. Zhou Luo snorted and said indifferently as he flung his sleeves. Our Sky City doesn't care about such insignificant matters. It doesn't matter how we fight as the outcome will be the same anyway. Only the weak will care about the duel format. For the strong, no matter how they fight, it doesn't matter. Before Zhou Luo could finish speaking, Endless Summer heard the sound of grinding teeth coming from the opposite side. Endless Summer looked over and noticed that Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe were looking at Zhou Luo with eyes spewing fire. The sound of teeth grinding came from Lu Yenshan's mouth. Endless Summer thought to herself when she heard the sound of teeth grinding. How angry is Lu Yenshan? But to be honest, Lu Yenshan's teeth are not bad. Most people with bad teeth wouldn't be able to make such a loud noise. Actually, it made sense. Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe were two veteran emperor-class experts and lived like princes in the Miao family. They were fawned upon and flattered everywhere they went. Now that Zhou Luo, who had king-class strength, called them weaklings in such a domineering tone, it would be strange if Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe could take it. Gu Han's eyebrows twitched because Zhou Luo didn't clearly indicate whether he accepted Lu Yenshan's suggestion or not. Change the one-on-one beast cage duel to a group duel. Gu Han asked again helplessly. Does Sky City agree to change the duel format to a group duel? Endless Summer saw that Zhou Luo was about to speak again and hurriedly interrupted. Our Sky City agrees to the group duel format. Endless Summer didn't want to waste any more time here. The reason was simple. Endless Summer felt that one or two sentences were enough and should know when to stop. Too much wrangling would make Sky City seem frivolous. On the other hand, Endless Summer just looked at the time and found that the TV series she had been watching was going to start in less than an hour. Endless Summer wanted to quickly end the Blood Oath duel with the Zheng family before the TV series started and then return to the manor to see if the adulterous couple was still together. After receiving Endless Summer's reply, Gu Han waved her hand and said loudly, "The Blood Oath duel between Sky City and the Miao family, with the Zheng family, will be changed to a group duel. Everyone use your blood to protect the glory of your forces." After Gu Han said this, the duel officially began. At this moment, many people in the audience had their eyes on Zhou Luo. Almost everyone present thought that Sky City had given up hope by sending two experts to the Blood Oath duel. Zhou Luo's performance just now was also interpreted as a display of Sky City's backbone at the last moment. Many hot-blooded people present couldn't help but be moved by Zhou Luo's actions. There were even some hot-blooded youngsters who suddenly became Zhou Luo's fans. From their elders, these hot-blooded youngsters all knew that Zhou Luo was only a king-class expert. End of this chapter. Chapter 11:24. The younger generation did not expect that when a king-class expert puffed out his chest and burst out with courage and exuberant willpower, he actually dared to go against a veteran emperor-class expert and even looked down on him. This was too cool. How could there be such an exceptional man in the world? After confirming that the duel would be the Blood Oath Extreme Duel, Xing Ji's heart was filled with bitterness. Jingji's main Fei, the power god dung beetle, had just been injured and had yet to recover. Moreover, it was very likely that he would be ambushed by Endless Summer during the group fight. If an Emperor-class expert disregarded everything and detonated the nomological world, even if it was in front of two veteran Emperor-class experts, Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe, it was not impossible. It was possible to trade one for one. Therefore, Jingji could only retreat as soon as the duel started. He then summoned the injured power god Dung Beetle to protect in front of him. In the eyes of the audience, they only felt that this scene was extremely ironic. Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe were both holding back their anger. They didn't conceal it and summoned their Feis. In an instant, a humongous, vertical carapace the size of a small mountain appeared in front of Han Tianhe. When the humongous, vertical carapace appeared, it would occasionally squirm as though there was a creature hiding in this carapace. It was unknown how many years the humongous carapace had not been taken care of. Just the dust that had accumulated on it actually had many old trees and flowers growing on it. Suddenly, the humongous carapace trembled. Lin Yuan saw a body covered in brownish-red mucus emerge from the humongous carapace. The mucus looked very viscous, and when the mucus on the body pulled against each other, it emitted a sticky and ear-piercing sound. This sticky sound was extremely disgusting to listen to. At the same time, a lava-like world power surged out of the humongous mollusk life form. The vigorous world power rampaged in the extreme battle arena. A wave of heat rose in the extreme battle arena as though there was a volcano that was about to erupt in the middle. A terrifying humanoid life form appeared beside Han Tianhe. This humanoid life form's skin was ash-gray and ghastly. The huge eye sockets had no eyelids, and the entire gray and ferocious pupils were stained with black and red blood. His blood-stained gray eyes made people feel a sense of suffocation and panic at first glance. The humanoid creature also had 5 hands on its body, one of which was grabbing its neck. The hand that was squeezing his neck had shrunk so badly that it looked like an ornament. However, this decorative finger had pierced the skin on his neck. Not only did the strange humanoid creature bleed from its eyes, but even its neck was also gushing with dark red blood. The other 4 arms on the humanoid creature's body were twisted in a strange way, like 4 ribbons hanging from its body. However, these 4 ribbons did not look elegant at all. This was because the movements of the 4 arms were extremely stiff as they fluttered in the wind, as if the bones in the arms had been replaced with rusted machinery. He didn't know how much black and red blood this humanoid creature had. The blood that flowed out from its eye sockets and neck dyed the entire body of the humanoid creature in an instant. Every drop of black and red blood that dripped from the humanoid creature's body to the ground would set off a black fog. It was as if there was something hidden in the black fog that people were most afraid of so far. The fear seemed to be able to reach the depths of people's minds, allowing them to see the thing that they were most afraid of but didn't dare to face. The moment Lu Yenshan summoned this strange life form, many of the audience members suddenly thought of the most terrifying thing hidden in their hearts. Then this strange humanoid creature let out a strange laugh. This laughter was like a hen's scream when its neck was being grabbed. Accompanied by the strange laughter, it was as if a world of fear had quietly descended on the pole arena. This feeling of fear caused the weak-willed experts in the spectator stands to scream in agony. Even the strong-willed experts' foreheads were faintly oozing cold sweat. Lin Yuan had the protection of the princess dress and the dark death world, so he wouldn't be affected by the world power emitted by Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's phase. Based on the 2 types of world powers he sensed, he knew that both Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had summoned their creation breed phase immediately. With Endless Summer, who had an Emperor-class combat power, summoning an Emperor-class Fei would likely cause unnecessary casualties. Lin Yuan felt the aura emitted by Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's phase. He immediately used Morbius ability True Data to carefully examine the phase that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had summoned. Fei name: Geocentric Dragon Snail, Fei species, Gastropod/agate snail, Fei grade. Monarch 5 out of 10. Fei type: Earth/Fire, Fei quality. 4th calamity of creation. Fei name: Ghost Sky Centipede, Fei species, Toothed Beast/Ancient Beast, Fei grade. Monarch 6 out of 10. Fei type: Spiritual, Fei quality. 5th calamity of creation. At a glance, Lin Yuan knew that Han Tianhe's main Fei was called the Geocentric Dragon Snail. It was a fire-earth dual elemental fae at class 5 fourth calamity of creation. When he saw the name geocentric dragon snail, Lin Yuan raised his brows and revealed a look of understanding. Under normal circumstances, when a fae reached myth 2, it would appear in human form. However, the geocentric dragon snail was an anomaly. It wasn't that the geocentric dragon snail didn't have the ability to transform into human form. It was just that faes like the geocentric dragon snail were extremely lazy and usually slept soundly in its carapace. The extremely lazy geocentric dragon snail felt that transforming into human form was a strenuous task. Unless it had no choice or was commanded by its contractor, the geocentric dragon snail wouldn't even move. Despite being lazy, Han Tianhe's main fae, the geocentric dragon snail, was very outstanding in terms of abilities and exclusive skills. It was obvious that Han Tianhe had spent a huge amount of resources on this geocentric dragon snail and nurtured it with great care. The exclusive skill, Lava Domain, that the geocentric dragon snail had obtained after becoming a creation seed, could be used with other abilities and exclusive skills. In an instant, it could turn a 1,000-mile radius into a land of boiling lava. In a land of boiling lava, all life forms would be instantly burned into ashes. At the same time, the geocentric dragon snail had the ability to change the terrain. Such an ability could be used as an effective defensive or control method in combat. It could even split the battlefield to a certain extent, and it was considered an ability with strategic significance in a team battle. End of this chapter. Chapter 11:25. Of course, even if the Earth Core Dragon Snail used its full strength in the extreme arena, its ability range wouldn't exceed the audience seats. No one knew why the range of an Emperor-class phase ability would be restricted in the arena. It was the same situation in the Radiance Federation's various extreme arenas. Such a situation could ensure the safety of the audience seats, and it was also the mystery of the extreme arena. As compared to Han Tianhe's Earth Core Dragon Snail, Lu Yenshan's Ghost Sky Beast's abilities and exclusive skill combination were more exciting. Lin Yuan had checked Lu Yenshan's character journal and had some doubts about the evaluation of Lu Yenshan's Ghost Sky Beast. He didn't understand why Lu Yenshan's Ghost Sky Beast was known as the strongest spirit-type fae of the same grade. After seeing the Ghost Sky Beast's true data, Lin Yuan finally understood. It was because the Ghost Sky Beast played with fear to the extreme. It could even use fear to PUA other faes and control them. At the same time, Lin Yuan also knew why the Ghost Sky Beast had such a terrifying appearance. The Ghost Sky Beast in true data was a fanged beast, which was an ancient beast fae. Since prehistoric times, dragon beasts had never stopped fighting for supremacy. A beast species fae with an ancient beast bloodline was as noble as a dragon species fae with a main dragon species bloodline. In terms of quantity, there were much fewer beast species faes with ancient beast bloodlines than with dragon species faes with main dragon species bloodlines. According to the species, the Ghost Sky Beast's current appearance was definitely not its original body. The world cleansing and the calamity of creation would constantly temper the fae's body. Therefore, when a fae transformed into a human form, it wouldn't have such a strange appearance. The Ghost Sky Centipede Beast had an exclusive skill called Timid Body, which allowed it to change its body form. After changing its body form, it could enhance the effect of the fear-type spiritual ability. It could also solidify its spiritual energy on the surface of its body to enhance its physical defense. The Body of Pain might be amazing, but it wasn't outstanding compared to the Ghost Sky Beast's other abilities and exclusive skills. Among them, the Ghost Sky Beast's most noteworthy ability was called Throat Grip. The Ghost Sky Beast's black-red blood made the target fall into fear and would also curse the target. The fifth hand on the Ghost Sky Beast's body would break its neck every once in a while. When the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast's neck is broken by the fifth hand, the cursed target's spiritual world will be crushed. The throat-gripping seal skill relied on mental power. As a spiritual-type fae, the Ghost Sky Owl Beast's spiritual energy was usually higher than faes that were 1 or 2 grades higher. Therefore, the Ghost Sky Beast could rely on its throat grasp technique to challenge those of a higher rank. At that moment, Lin Yuan was filled with joy. Lin Yuan coveted the Earth Core Dragon Snail and the Ghost Sky Nightmare Beast. The stronger the geocentric dragon snail and Ghost Sky Centipede were, the happier Lin Yuan would be. In his opinion, be it the geocentric dragon snail or the Ghost Sky Centipede, they would soon become a part of his two Emperor-class humanoid weapons. Although the Ghost Sky Owl Beast's spiritual attack that used fear was very powerful, Lin Yuan wasn't worried at all. The Void Shadow Fiends born in the Abyss World had been accompanied by endless slaughter since birth. Putting aside the fact that the Void Shadow Fiend's strength was a few grades higher than the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast and could instantly kill it. Even if the Void Shadow Fiend's heart was tempered in the Abyss World, it would be hard for it to feel fear. The Void Shadow Fiend, which was very indifferent to fear, was very effective against the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast. After summoning the Fae, Han Tianhe flew and landed on the geocentric dragon snail's body. Immediately after, Han Tianhe plucked a fruit from the fruit tree on the geocentric dragon snail's back and took a bite, looking very carefree and satisfied. Han Tianhe looked at Endless Summer and Zhou Luo as though he was looking at two dead men. Lu Yenshan looked down at Zhou Luo and said with a cold tone, "You people from Sky City are rather eloquent. It's a pity that in the face of absolute strength, the most powerless thing is to speak." At that moment, everyone's eyes were staring at the geocentric dragon snail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast. Most of the audience members were from the Rising factions and Veteran factions. The Rising factions and Veteran factions wouldn't even have the qualifications to come into contact with Creation Breed phase. Many of them were seeing the true appearance of the Creation Breed phase for the first time today. After a short period of silence, the sound of people taking pictures could be heard from time to time. The Star Web reporters were frantically taking photos of the geocentric dragon snail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast. The photos of the geocentric dragon snail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast were simply treasures to the Star Web reporters. With the photos of the geocentric dragon snail and the Ghost Sky Centipede Beast, they would be able to earn a huge sum of money in today's press release. As the shutter sounds continued to ring, the audience in the stands suddenly burst into a noisy discussion after they came back to their senses. Fuck, this is a Creation Breed Fae? A Creation Breed Fae was simply too cool. I'm terrified and feeling like I'm about to be burned to ashes. Sky City is completely finished. Who can withstand two Creation Breed Faes? I just want to know what kind of explanation the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will give after this Blood Oath Extreme duel to explain the fact that they helped the Zheng family provide two Emperor-class experts. I'm going home today to eat roasted snails and charcoal roasted snails. Fuck. The idol I just acknowledged is going to die. There were people in the audience who liked Zhou Luo and stood on Sky City's side. Naturally, there were also people who couldn't stand Zhou Luo and Sky City and stood on the Zheng and Miao family's side. Hehe, the people from Sky City were so arrogant just now, but they were just crazy before they died. What's the use of just talking? I don't believe that the people from Sky City can still boast shamelessly when they see two Creation Breed Faes. The person who spoke was an old man who looked over 50 years old. However, as soon as the old man finished speaking, an awkward expression immediately appeared on his face. The old man heard Zhou Luo's voice coming from the extreme duel arena again. You're right. It seems like you're also a reasonable person. Since you're reasonable, you should know that the words of a person with absolute power also have absolute weight. Lu Yenshan didn't expect Zhou Luo to still dare to be stubborn. He immediately ordered, "Nightmare Ghost, start a massacre." When the Ghost Sky Beast heard Lu Yenshan's command, its body immediately emitted a large amount of black-red blood mist. At that moment, everyone saw Zhou Luo raise his finger and point at Lu Yenshan and the Ghost Sky Beast. Then he pointed at Han Tianhe and the geocentric dragon snail who were watching the show from the side. I said, "It's time for you to die." The audience didn't have time to react to Zhou Luo's words. However, Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe's faces instantly turned pale. End of this chapter. Chapter 1127. As Emperor-class experts, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were able to capture the moving shadows because Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were both in the spirit return state. They used their strongest defensive means. This caused the shadow to slow down when it split Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the dragon snail and the Ghost Sky Beast's bodies. Those who were sent by the top factions to watch the battle were all smart people. They already knew that Sky City's third participant of the Blood Oath Extreme battle had already entered the battlefield, but no one had discovered it. This also explained why Sky City would send a king-class expert to participate in the Blood Oath Extreme battle, which concerned the survival of a faction. Sky City's killer move had actually been prepared long ago. On the surface, the two participants of the Blood Oath Extreme Battle were just a foil to the moving shadow. They looked at Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, and their contracted Dragon's Nail and Ghost Sky Beast, who had been split into two in a pool of blood. While these members of the top factions were gloating, they were also re-evaluating Sky City's combat power. However, under their scrutiny, they realized that Sky City's combat power could not be accurately estimated. This was because they did not even know what had just attacked. Naturally, they could not clearly determine its strength. It was able to instantly kill two of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's veteran Emperor-class experts. Especially when one of the two veteran Emperor-class experts' phase had reached Monarch rank level 5 and 4th Tribulation of Creation. The other was a 5th Disaster of Creation at Monarch level 6. In order to do this, Sky City's third participant had to be at least a peak Emperor-class expert. He might even have seen the power of Immortals. At this moment, the audience had already erupted into a heated discussion. Most of the audience present were not like the Emperor-class experts of the top factions who could see the moving shadow. In the eyes of everyone present, it was Zhou Luo who said, "You all deserve to die." Immediately after, Lu Yenshan, Han Tianhe and their contracted phase were split into two. Zhou Luo's words killed two emperors. He was like a god. The fans who had just become Zhou Luo's fans cheered on the spot. "Oh my god. This, what is going on?" Two veteran Emperor-class experts from the Beast Creation Garden died with just a word from my idol? I'm not dreaming. What the hell? My heart is weak and you're showing me this? What kind of divine reversal is this? Didn't they just say that he was a king? How could a king stage expert kill two Emperor stage experts? Haha. I'm happy. It seems like I can continue to go to Sky City's Star Web private faction territory to queue for the fate letter tomorrow. Listen. Look at the expression on the Zheng family's patriarch Xingji's face. His eyeballs are about to pop out. You look like you've drunk 3 cups of oil from Big Sister Hua. Sun Mingxiang and Miao He had different reactions from the rest of the audience. Although Sun Mingxiang was worried, she knew that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were not burdened by Lin Yuan's calmness. However, Lin Yuan's means had indeed shocked Sun Mingxiang. On the other hand, Miao He had already picked up his phone with a trembling body and dialed his grandfather Miao Zhenshan's number. As the current young master of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, Miao He had to inform his grandfather about Miao Zhenshan's current situation immediately. Even if the Miao family had lost 2 veteran Emperor stage experts, Miao He did not dare to imagine how angry and shocked his grandfather would be when he heard that he had lost his right-hand man. At the same time, the purpose of Miao He's call was to ask Miao Zhenshan how to deal with Zheng Kaiyuan and his blood-related aunt, Miao Ji. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's deaths were ultimately because of Zheng Kaiyuan's request. Zheng Kaiyuan's life was related to whether the Miao family could be connected to the Moon Empress disciple. According to the current development of the situation, when the Zheng family's patriarch, Zheng Ji, was killed in the extreme battle arena, Sky City could immediately decide to kill everyone in the Zheng family. The Miao family had already lost 2 Emperor stage experts for Zheng Kaiyuan, so it was necessary to preserve Zheng Kaiyuan's life in such a situation. Otherwise, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's sacrifice would be in vain. Lin Yuan stood with his hands behind his back as he watched everything that was happening in the extreme battle arena. At this moment, Sky City was truly showing itself in front of the other factions. Presumably, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's deaths would make the other factions wary of Sky City. As for Zheng Ji and the other Zheng family members present, Lin Yuan already had plans. Zhou Luo, who was standing in the extreme battle arena, felt that his action of extending his finger was simply too cool. Zhou Luo raised his finger again and spoke in a tone that was 70% arrogant and 30% disdainful. "Endless summer, I'll leave the Zheng family's patriarch Zheng Ji to you." Upon hearing that, Endless Summer almost burst out laughing. Lin Yuan's order to the Void Shadow Demon had already been completed. How could Zhou Luo have the nerve to command the Void Shadow Demon to fight? Even if Zhou Luo had the nerve, he would definitely not be able to command the Void Shadow Demon. Endless Summer also extended a finger and pointed at Zheng Ji like Zhou Luo had done previously. "Shooting Spear of Summer, shoot 3,000 shots." As Endless Summer's voice fell, 3,000 pinkish-purple embroidered ball-shaped flowers instantly appeared in the sky above the extreme battle arena. The 3,000 embroidered ball-shaped flowers instantly scattered into a sky full of flower rain. In the sky full of flower rain, 3,000 pinkish-purple shooting spears shot at Xingji and the power god dung beetle. Facing Endless Summer's attack, Xingji did not dodge. Instead he suddenly looked up at the sky. When he looked up at the sky, Xingji's eyes were filled with dejection and reminiscence. It was unknown when dark clouds had gathered in the sky, but it was raining heavily. Before the rain could land on Xingji's face, Xingji and the power god dung beetle were pierced by the 3,000 shooting spears of summer. When the first shooting spear of summer pierced Xingji's body, Xingji suddenly felt that the original Zheng family was rather good. The Zheng family's appearance seemed to have changed since Miao Ji married into the Zheng family and Zheng Kaiyuan was born. The Zheng family that he had guarded for most of his life was gone, just like his life that was disappearing. 3,000 shooting spears of summer stacked together, forming a beautiful flower burial. After the extreme battle manager Gu Han confirmed Xingji's death, he immediately announced. In the Blood Oath extreme battle between Sky City and the Zheng family, Sky City used group combat to eliminate the Zheng family's 3 experts that participated in the Blood Oath extreme battle and obtained victory in the Blood Oath extreme battle. According to the rules of the Blood Oath extreme battle, Sky City can freely execute everything left behind by the veteran faction, the Zheng family. While speaking, Gu Han's eyes quietly landed on Zhou Luo's shadow. Previously, Gu Han already knew that Sky City had a peak Emperor-level combatant participating in the battle. However, he did not expect it to be an 11th-level Void Shadow Demon that had reached the 8th Tribulation of Creation stage. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1128. Gu Han lowered her head and looked at the information that Sky City had submitted in her hand speechlessly. The 3rd expert participating in the Blood Oath extreme battle only had the word Shadow written in his name. Even a ghost would not be able to guess that it was a Void Shadow Fiend. At the same time, Gu Han could not help but secretly speculate about Sky City. Could it be that the Sky Castle had a relationship with a certain majesty? Class 6 Abyss dimensional rifts could connect to the Abyss world. It was not impossible to control abyssal demons and obtain their allegiance to bring them to the main world. However, the Class 6 Abyss dimensional rift was still in a sealed state, and only 13 holiness could freely enter and exit the Abyss world. This meant that the Class 11-8 Calamity Creation Void Shadow Fiend must have been brought out from the Abyss world by a certain holiness. Guessing was just guessing, but as a smart person, Gu Han would not rashly ask some questions. At the same time, Gu Han thought to himself, the Miao family's beast creation garden has really kicked an iron plate this time. With the death of 2 veteran Emperor-class experts, the Miao family's beast creation garden's Emperor-class experts would be weaker compared to the other top competing factions. The death of 2 veteran Emperor-class experts would greatly reduce the negative discussion of the Miao family sending 2 veteran Emperor-class experts to help the Zheng family in the Blood Oath extreme battle with Sky City. However, these negative discussions would ultimately have a considerable impact on the Miao family. Fortunately, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were not creation masters, so their deaths would not affect the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden's Creation Master Foundation. From the moment Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan died, Ling Yuan's eyes had been fixed on Miao He's area in the audience seats. When he saw Miao He pick up his cell phone to make a call, the corners of Ling Yuan's mouth curled up. The Blood Oath extreme battle with the Zheng family had ended. However, the dispute in the extreme battle arena was far from over. Lin Yuan looked at the opposite side of the extreme battle arena, who had a look of disbelief on his face. Lin Yuan walked toward Jing Kaiyuan with the people from Sky City behind him. Every step Lin Yuan took on the ground was equivalent to stepping on the tip of Jing Kaiyuan's heart. With every step Lin Yuan took, Jing Kaiyuan would feel that his life was fading away a little faster. Lin Yuan's walking speed was not fast, but he thought to himself as he walked. The Miao family's beast creation garden wasn't far from the polar arena. Given the power of an emperor-level being, he should have reached the polar arena by now. Lin Yuan said to Endless Summer, who was standing beside him. Endless Summer, reward every surviving member of the Zheng family with a shooting spear of summer. Lin Yuan didn't have the slightest intention of showing mercy to the rest of the Jing family. When Endless Summer heard his words, she immediately waved her hand. Within the curtain of rain, hundreds of purple flower balls appeared out of thin air again and scattered into a rain of petals. One after another, the shooting guns of summer shot through the crowd of people from the Jing family. As Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan had lost their legs and needed to be carried, Miao Qi and Jing Kaiyuan were on the left side of the team. Just as the rest of the Jing family became the undead under the shooting spear of summer and the shooting spear of summer shot towards Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan, a roar suddenly came from midair. "Don't shoot." Then a golden barrier appeared in front of Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan. The white-haired Miao Zhinshan stood in midair, and a scholarly man who looked to be in his 30s stood beside him. The scholarly man had a scar on his eyebrows, and this scar caused his eyebrows to be split into two. This caused the scholarly man's face to be tainted with a trace of a bandit's aura. Standing behind Miao Zhinshan and the scholarly man was an old lady, and she was the one who had casually released that barrier. Lin Yuan immediately used true data to check on the old lady. Lin Yuan realized that this old lady wasn't a fae but an S+ spirit chi professional. From the strength of the barrier that the old lady had released, it could easily block Endless Summer's shooting guns of summer. This meant that this old lady was definitely a veteran emperor-level expert. As for who was stronger between the dead Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe, it was impossible to tell with just a barrier. When Miao Zhinshan saw Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's split bodies, his eyes immediately turned red as though he was crying blood. However, Miao Zhinshan wasn't the only one with such intense emotions. After the scholarly man appeared, Ji Feng, who was shrouded in a black robe, suddenly clenched his fists tightly and pursed his lips. As he had pursed his lips too hard, Ji Feng's teeth had already cut his lips. Fresh blood dripped from the corner of his lips and flowed into the spacious sky-blue cloud robe. Ji Feng desperately restrained his aura and didn't let a trace of it leak out. Lu Jia, who was standing beside Ji Feng, keenly sensed the change and immediately reached out to hold Ji Feng's arm. As a companion, Lu Jia naturally knew about Ji Feng's background. At the same time, Lu Jia also recognized the scholarly man standing beside Miao Zhinshan. This scholarly man was the second elder of the Whale Ocean Trade's Elder Association and one of the 3 bigwigs of the 10,000 Flags trade. Lu Jia had seen how Lin Yuan had looked at Miao He earlier. He knew that Lin Yuan was doing this to lure out the Miao family's leader. However, when the Miao family's family head Miao Zhinshan came, why was the Whale Ocean Trade's second elder standing beside him? Lin Yuan looked at the 3 people in the sky. Before he could give an order, a majestic aura pierced the sky. A monstrous aura emanated from Gu Han's body. Lin Yuan could smell an immortal aura from the aura emanating from Gu Han's body. Gu Han looked up at Miao Zhinshan and the Whale Ocean Trade's second elder in the sky. The immortal aura firmly locked onto the old woman who had just released the golden barrier and said faintly, "Why? Is the Miao family here to cause trouble in the polar arena?" The polar arena has always been tainted with the blood of factions. Miao Zhinshan, as the family head of the Miao family's beast creation garden, you should know this common knowledge, right? At the same time Gu Han released her aura, 12 experts holding totem pillars had unknowingly surrounded the edge of the polar arena. From the moment these experts appeared, they released their aura. The 12 auras tightly covered the sky above the polar arena. Moreover, the auras emitted by the 12 extreme Dipper guards carried obvious killing intent. After sensing the aura, Lin Yuan realized that the 12 experts holding totem pillars were actually not weaker than Lu Yenshan. It was said that there were extreme Dipper guards who guarded the polar arena's rules. The extreme Dipper guards were responsible for maintaining order in the polar arena. They were holding totem pillars that were officially engraved with the factions that had been executed for not complying with the polar arena's rules. Facing the aura emitted by Gu Han and the 12 extreme Dipper guards, cold sweat instantly slid down Miao Zhinshan's forehead. End of this chapter. Chapter 1129. The middle-aged man with the broken eyebrows, who was standing beside Miao Zhinshan, was a little surprised. Miao Zhinshan had indeed blocked the Sky City's attack. He had rescued Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan from the Sky City's attack. However, that was only a last resort in an emergency. Miao Zhinshan did not express that he wanted to cause trouble in the extreme arena, nor did he make a move to attack. In the extreme arena, after one faction lost, the other factions would take out the corresponding resources to save the lives of the losing faction's members. In such a situation, why would Gu Han show such obvious hostility toward Miao Zhinshan? Moreover, this hostility was too abrupt, as if he was protecting the Sky City and expressing goodwill to them. This discovery made the middle-aged man look at Lin Yuan with curiosity, as if he wanted to see something different about him. The refined middle-aged man knew what kind of person the steward of the extreme arena, Gu Han, was. Gu Han had previously worked under Night Leaning Moon. Due to the division of the extreme arena, he had been transferred to the Iron Prison and had been put in an important position. He was also a well-known figure in the Radiance Federation. Such a person expressing goodwill to a faction seemed a little ridiculous no matter how one looked at it. Gu Han had even called over the Extreme Dipper Guards. Did Gu Han really want to execute Miao Zhinshan because of such a small matter? Miao Zhinshan felt the pressure emitted by Gu Han and the 12 Extreme Dipper Guards and felt his heart clench. He hurriedly wanted to explain. At that moment, a shrill voice that was obviously frightened echoed. "Dad! Hurry up and save me in Kaiyuan. They killed the Zheng family members and want to kill me." Following this mournful voice was another even more mournful voice. "Grandfather." Before Zheng Kaiyuan could finish speaking, it was as if he had become a rooster whose throat had been grabbed. All the words were stuck in his throat and he did not dare to spit out a word. Zheng Kaiyuan saw Miao Zhinshan looking at him with blood-red eyes, which were brewing something deep and obscure. With one look, it made Zheng Kaiyuan feel as if dying under the shooting of Summer's spear was the true release. Before Miao Zhinshan, the elegant man with the broken eyebrows, and the old woman behind them had released the golden barrier to protect Zheng Kaiyuan, Lin Yuan had already quietly let the Void Shadow Devil use its full strength to conceal itself. He then recalled the Void Shadow Demon into the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. Recalling the Void Shadow Devil into the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone was the key to his next move. Everything was within Lin Yuan's expectations. It could be said that the only thing that surprised Lin Yuan was the Extreme Arena's reaction. Lin Yuan looked at Miao Zhinshan, who had a gloomy expression. "What?" The Miao family sacrificed the lives of 2 veteran great emperors to help the Jing family, and now they're here to clean up after the Jing family? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Miao Zhinshan did not immediately reply. Instead he turned to Gu Han and said, "Sir Gu Han, I represent the Miao family to take out some resources from the Beast Creation Garden for my 2 old friends. At the same time, make a deal with Sky City and save Zheng Kaiyuan from them." Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Gu Han's aura remained unchanged. Sky City has already won the Blood Oath battle against the Jing family. Now, everything in the Extreme Arena is Sky City's private property. If you want to make a deal, go and talk to Sky City. If you can't, don't cause any more trouble in the Extreme Arena. It has been almost 15 years since the Extreme Do Guards dealt with a top faction that caused trouble. The Zheng family is about to appear on the Extreme Arena B's totem stone pillar. I believe the Miao family will not want to follow in the Zheng family's footsteps and let their totem appear on the totem stone pillar in the hands of the Extreme Do Guards. Upon hearing that, Miao Zhinshan's brows furrowed tightly. He had indeed been rash previously. He had rashly made a move to save people in the Extreme Arena and violated the Extreme Arena's rules. However, now that he had lowered his stance, Gu Han did not give him any face at all. If the Beast Creation Garden had lost the chance to get its hands on the Do Immortal Garden because of the cooperation between Sky City and the Do Immortal Garden, Miao Zhinshan would only hate Sky City. Now, the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden and Sky City were already tainted with a blood feud. Under such circumstances, it was really difficult for Miao Zhinshan to calmly discuss a deal with Sky City. However, Miao Zhinshan had no choice but to endure the situation. At that moment, Miao Zhinshan quietly circulated his spiritual power and carried out a detailed investigation of Sky City. Miao Zhinshan wanted to know what was hidden in Sky City that could instantly kill Han Tianhe and Lu Yanshan, who had used all their strength to defend. In the end, Miao Zhinshan was surprised to find that he could not detect any powerful aura in Sky City. Sky City's strongest Fae was only a Monarch Class 1 Creation Tribulation Fae. Han Tianhe and Lu Yanshan could easily kill such a Fae. Miao Zhinshan had become a pinnacle emperor-class expert with the resources that the Miao family had gathered over the years. Even with his pinnacle emperor-class strength, he could not detect anything fishy in Sky City. A chill ran down Miao Zhinshan's spine and he could not help but shiver. Then Miao Zhinshan looked at the elegant middle-aged man standing beside him and gave him a look. When the elegant middle-aged man saw Miao Zhinshan's look, he reached out and touched his broken eyebrow. Then, according to Miao Zhinshan's request, he sensed the location of Sky City. After sensing it, the elegant middle-aged man's broken eyebrow furrowed tightly. Then an immortal aura pressure faintly emanated from the elegant middle-aged man's body. However, even with this immortal aura pressure, the search was still fruitless. The middle-aged man's expression immediately turned serious. If the elegant middle-aged man had only been interested in Sky City before, then he was now looking at Lin Yuan with an obvious probing gaze. The elegant middle-aged man really did not understand when such a powerful faction had appeared in the Radiance Federation. Lin Yuan raised his eyebrows when he sensed the immortal aura emanating from the elegant middle-aged man. Sure enough, someone in the Whale Ocean trade had already caught a glimpse of immortality. At the same time, he silently praised himself for recalling the Void Shadow Fiend back into the Spirit Lock spatial zone. Otherwise, his trump card would have been exposed to the elegant middle-aged man's perception. When the elegant middle-aged man released his aura to probe unscrupulously, Gu Han said coldly, "Di Wanqing, casually leaking your aura will cause misunderstandings. I'm sure you don't want to cause any unnecessary misunderstandings." Di Wanqing's eyes flickered when he heard Gu Han's words. End of chapter. Chapter 1130. Di Wanqing and Gu Han had been friends for a long time, so he knew that Gu Han wouldn't target him just because he released his aura. Gu Han's words were to tell him not to cause unnecessary misunderstandings. This also meant that Sky City was not to be trifled with. Looking at Miao Zhinshan's gaze, Di Wanqing shrugged and shook his head. Seeing Di Wanqing's reaction, Miao Zhinshan's blood-red eyes darkened. Then he turned his head and stared at Lin Yuan for a long time before speaking. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan are both meritorious members of our Miao family. It is only right for our Miao family to bury them properly. Our Miao family will compensate Sky City accordingly. At the same time, our Miao family can also offer some resources in exchange for Zheng Kaiyuan's life. Zheng Kaiyuan's life is insignificant to Sky City, so... Before Miao Zhinshan could finish his words, Lin Yuan interrupted him playfully. The Miao family's family head is indeed the Miao family's family head. Your Miao family wants to help the Miao family help the Zheng family withdraw from the Blood Oath Extreme battle with just a few words. Isn't your plan too good? Let's not talk about anything else. I haven't even dug out the world crystals in the dragon snails and the ghost sky beast heads. Can the Miao family's beast creation garden compensate me more than these 2 world crystals? You're still thinking of freeloading at a time like this? I really don't know how eager your Miao family is to take advantage of other forces when they cooperate with them. Lin Yuan's words made Miao Zhinshan's expression change. He had clearly said that he was going to collect Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, but he hadn't mentioned anything about the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky beast. However, Lin Yuan had changed his words and used it to attack the beast creation garden. If words like, the Miao family's beast creation garden were to spread, the Star Web reporters would report it tomorrow. The top factions and veteran factions that were collaborating with the Miao family would probably pull out of the collaboration as soon as possible. As the dignified family head of the Miao family, he couldn't explain himself at this time. He couldn't just explicitly say that he didn't care about the geocentric dragon's nail and ghost sky beast's bodies, right? The geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky centipede were Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's main phase. If they directly expressed that they didn't care, it would make the beast creation garden seem heartless. Just as Miao Zhinshan was about to change the topic, Lin Yuan continued. You only said to save Zheng Kaiyuan. Are you not going to save Miao Ji? Compared to Zheng Kaiyuan, Miao Zhicai is more like a member of the Miao family. Lin Yuan's words were like a ruthless slap on Miao Zhinshan's face. That was indeed Miao Zhinshan's plan. But this kind of thing was pointed out, so Miao Zhinshan had to bite the bullet and refute it at the first possible moment. Both of them are members of the Miao clan. Of course we have to save them. Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Lin Yuan laughed heartily. I knew that the Miao family's beast creation garden was loyal and would not allow their own people to be killed. However, Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji are not cheap. If I want to save Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji at the same time, I will need 2 world crystals. Of course, your Miao family can forget about getting Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe back. If Red Thorn had not completed its evolution last night, the tongue of Relinquish had obtained the ability to control dead bodies through that strange plant seed. As long as the Miao family's beast creation garden provided enough resources, Lin Yuan was willing to return Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, and their contracted phase, the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky centipede to the Miao family. After all, if he could use Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the ghost sky centipede and the geocentric dragonsnail's bodies to exchange for a few more world crystals, it would be great. However, compared to the temptation of 2 Emperor-class humanoid weapons, Lin Yuan would not even consider 10 world crystals. Moreover, the Miao family's beast creation garden might not be able to take out 10 world crystals. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's request, Miao Zhinshan suddenly gritted his teeth. Miao Zhinshan's cheeks were bulging from the bite, which showed how angry he was. Miao Zhinshan took a deep breath and said, "Is Sky City extorting the Miao family? Is Sky City trying to extort the Miao family? 2 world crystals. How can Sky City think of this?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan ignored Miao Zhinshan and turned to give an order to Endless Summer. Endless Summer, give the Miao family head 3 seconds to think about it. If he doesn't agree within 3 seconds, it will be considered that he doesn't agree to this deal. When the time comes, just deal with Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan. After giving the order to Endless Summer, Lin Yuan spoke to Gu Han. Senior, if the Miao family tries to stop us again, it will be deliberately breaking the Extreme Arena's rules. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Gu Han immediately expressed, if anyone breaks the Extreme Arena's rules again, the 12 Extreme Combat Guards will immediately execute the person who breaks the rules. While Gu Han was speaking, 2 shooting spears of summer suddenly shot toward Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. The moment the shooting spears of summer pierced Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan's bodies, Miao Zhinshan made a difficult decision and spoke. I agree to Sky City's request. Just as Miao Zhinshan spoke, the shooting spears of summer that pierced Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji's bodies suddenly dissipated. Upon seeing this, Miao Zhinshan felt as though he was bound to be eaten by Sky City. The other party seemed to have expected that he would take out 2 world crystals to save Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. This feeling of being seen through made Miao Zhinshan's heart give birth to fear. Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Lin Yuan raised his hand and gently clapped. As expected of the Miao family head. Straightforward indeed. I'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'll use 2 world crystals in exchange for you taking Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan away. While speaking, Lin Yuan felt that he had done a good job in tying Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan together. He had forcefully tied Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan together in exchange for an extra world crystal from the Miao family. Miao Zhinshan's heart must be aching at this moment. Miao Zhinshan turned to look at the old woman standing behind him. The old woman had a hesitant expression on her face. Finally, when she saw Miao Zhinshan's resolute expression, she flew back to the Miao family to prepare to hand over the world crystal to Sky City. Under Miao Zhinshan's bloodshot eyes, Lin Yuan had already started to use the diamond face storage box to store Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the geocentric dragon's nail, and the ghost sky centipede beast's bodies that had been split in half. The blood of the creation breed phase was as thick as mercury. When it dripped on the ground, it would not evaporate or seep into the ground. Lin Yuan also carefully collected the blood. The blood of the 2 creation breed phase could be considered premium goods among the resources that Lin Yuan currently had. The blood of the creation breed phase was much more precious than the heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1131. The negotiation between Sky City and the Miao family's beast creation garden was heard by all the spectators. They did not expect the Miao family, which was a top faction, to be so weak against Sky City. Didn't this mean that Sky City was much stronger than the Miao family's beast creation garden? Miao He sat powerlessly in the spectator seats. As a direct descendant of the Miao family's younger generation, Miao He felt a strong sense of powerlessness and humiliation. in the past, be it as the Miao family's second young master or the current first young master. In Miao He's eyes, the Miao family would always be his strongest backing. At this moment, Miao He felt for the first time that the Miao family behind him was not omnipotent. On the other side, Sun Ningxiang's body trembled with excitement. When Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan died, Sun Ningxiang knew that the Miao family would no longer have the energy to covet the Immortal garden. While Sun Ningxiang was excited, Tao Yao and Xingguo, who were sitting beside her, were also very excited. Tao Yao saw that Sun Ningxiang's eyes were fixed on Sky City's city lord. Tao Yao, who was now extremely agitated, began to speak in an off-key manner. "Young lady, look at Sky City's city lord's height. It matches you so well." When Sun Ningxiang heard Tao Yao's words, she quickly reached out and rubbed Tao Yao's smiling face. "What nonsense are you talking about? Don't always think about those meaningless things at such a young age. When you go back, cancel all the arrangements in Immortal garden that are related to the Miao family. Put all the spare manpower into nurturing those high-quality production-type plant phase. After nurturing the bronze/epic phase obtained from Sky City, the Immortal garden can try to integrate the entire plant species Fey market." Xingguo, who was sitting at the side, smiled when she heard her young mistress seriously assigning tasks to Tao Yao. All of a sudden Xingguo, who was smiling sweetly, realized that her young lady's earlobes had turned pink. This discovery made Xingguo's smile even more radiant. Ever since Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were killed, the sound of photos had never stopped. If the Extreme Battle Arena did not allow access to Star Web, some Star Web reporters would have started a live broadcast. Soon, the old woman who had gone to prepare the world crystals returned to the Extreme Battle Arena. The old woman handed the 2 brocade boxes to Miao Zhinshan. Miao Zhinshan took the 2 brocade boxes and quickly walked to Gu Han's side. He then handed the box containing the 2 world crystals to Gu Han. Gu Han took the brocade box from Miao Zhinshan and checked it before walking to Lin Yuan's side and handing it to him. Lin Yuan opened the 2 brocade boxes and saw 1 green and 1 blue world crystal. Within the green world crystal was a pure white elk. The elk's antlers grew into many branches, which rose high into the air, and on the branches were blooming flowers of various colors. The inside of the green world crystal seemed to be a world formed by a forest and a stream. The white elk was running freely in the stream and forest. Along the way, flowers kept falling from the antlers, and every flower that fell instantly gave the forest a new burst of life. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to check this world crystal. After probing it, Lin Yuan immediately knew that this world crystal had come from a Class 1 Monarch Class Creation Tribulation Holy Rejuvenation White Deer. The law contained in the world crystal was a robust law world. This Holy Rejuvenation White Deer was a healing type Fey, and it could use the robust law world to replenish a large amount of life force in an area. It allowed the target within the area to thrive. It could be said that Fays that were qualified to become creation breeds would not have weak law worlds. The robust law world that this healing type Holy Rejuvenation White Deer had comprehended was a very rare existence. The reason the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden was willing to give such a rare law world to him should be because this world crystal's quality was the lowest. It only had 1 creation earth vein. Lin Yuan suddenly thought of letting the Holy Sword-hugging Queen absorb this robust law world crystal produced from the Holy Rejuvenation White Deer's body. The Holy Sword-hugging Queen's sword skill in the Holy Sword state was very likely to have healing abilities. If that was the case, the appearance of this world crystal was equivalent to adding a powerful healing method to Lin Yuan. In the other blue world crystal there was a vast ocean with no end. This vast ocean sometimes condensed into ice and sometimes turned into water. As the ice and water alternated, there seemed to be a huge figure hidden at the bottom of the sea. When the seawater thawed through the waves, one could faintly see the huge and slender figure hidden in the deep sea. Lin Yuan used Morbius True Data to investigate this blue world crystal. He found that this world crystal was produced in the body of a Class 3 Monarch Class Second Tribulation submerged ocean blue whale. The law world inside the blue world crystal was the vast water law world. The vast water law world belonged to a very pure water type law world. According to the changes in the shape of the ocean in the blue world crystal, the vast water law seemed to have the ability to transform water and ice back and forth. Looking at this vast water world crystal with comprehensive and mediocre abilities, Lin Yuan really could not guess what kind of sword skill the Holy Sword-hugging queen would produce after absorbing it. At the same time, Lin Yuan also wanted to try using this vast water world crystal with 2 creation earth veins. He wanted to see if the vast water world crystal with 2 creation earth veins could be preserved after the Holy Sword-hugging queen absorbed it. After checking the 2 world crystals and confirming that there were no mistakes, Lin Yuan closed the 2 brocade boxes in his hands. He closed the 2 brocade boxes and stored them in the amber button-shaped diamond face storage box. He turned to Miao Zhinshan and said, "I am very satisfied with the world crystal that the Miao family has provided me. Now, according to the agreement, the lives of Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji belong to the Miao family. Also, I hope that the Miao family's beast creation garden will not find trouble with Sky City again. Otherwise, the Sky City won't be as easy to talk to next time. The Miao family might be able to save Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji this time, but they might not be able to save themselves next time." Lin Yuan's words had pushed Miao Zhinshan's patience to the limit. Miao Zhinshan roared like a madman. "Is Sky City threatening the beast creation garden?" Lin Yuan raised his brows. "You can think of it that way. Even though the Zheng family is the one who initiated the Blood Oath battle," Yi Zichen said. "But in fact, this Blood Oath extreme battle is between Sky City and Beast Creation Garden. If the Beast Creation Garden is unhappy, you can initiate a Blood Oath battle with Sky City. By then, Sky City will let the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden know what it means to be convinced." Chapter 1132. Upon hearing that, Miao Zhinshan was so angry that he laughed. The suppressed anger made Miao Zhinshan feel that the string of reason in his mind was suddenly pulled tight. However, Miao Zhinshan was not Jing Kaiyuan. He would not joke around with the Miao family's century-old foundation. At the same time, Miao Zhinshan was also afraid of the expert from Sky City who could split Han Tianhe and Lu Yanshan into 2. Even though Miao Zhinshan had not stopped using his spiritual energy to investigate, he still could not find any traces of that expert in the extreme arena. Therefore, in the face of Lin Yuan's threat and provocation, Miao Zhinshan could not refute or respond to Lin Yuan's words even if he lost face. Miao Zhinshan was afraid now. He was afraid that Sky City would initiate a Blood Oath extreme battle against the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. Lin Yuan's threat to Miao Zhinshan caused the audience to exclaim. Especially the members of the rising factions who had come to the extreme arena to watch the show. The veteran factions were already high and mighty in the eyes of these rising factions, and the top factions were the ceiling of the ceiling. They could only look up to them and were out of reach. However, this unreachable existence was threatened to the point of not daring to make a sound. Not only the audience in the extreme arena, but even the veteran faction's audience could not help but discuss wildly. Hasn't the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden been rushing forward on the top faction leaderboard all these years? Why does such a top faction look so ordinary now? Sky City is really domineering. I heard that the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden is extremely arrogant. Previously, a few rising factions offended the Miao family's young master, Miao Zhuo, and Miao Zhuo destroyed those rising factions. The Miao family is finally getting their retribution. The trashy Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. They are already being trampled on, yet they dare not make a sound. I really don't know how Miao Zhinshan became the family head of the Miao family. He has no guts or boldness at all. The Beast Creation Garden is really embarrassed this time. I'm waiting to see the Star Web reporter's report tomorrow. I want to see how the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will be posted on Star Web and get scolded. As an Emperor-class expert, Miao Zhinshan's spiritual energy was very strong. Naturally, he heard all the discussions in the audience. Every word of discussion was like a potato scratching Miao Zhinshan's face layer by layer. Even if Miao Zhinshan was thick-skinned, these comments were enough to shave his face clean. Moreover, Miao Zhinshan's skin was not thick to begin with. However, Miao Zhinshan couldn't do anything about it. Releasing the aura of an Emperor-class powerhouse to punish the spectators who were gossiping was not permitted by the Polar Arena. This was tantamount to breaking the rules of the Extreme Arena. If he did that, he wouldn't have to use Sky City to deal with him. Guhan would attack him immediately. As for remembering the faces of the people who talked about the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden, It was possible to find out which faction these people belonged to and take revenge on them. However, if such a thing was discovered, the Miao family's Beast Creation Park would no longer be able to establish itself in the Radiance Federation. At this moment, Miao Zhinshan, who had lost all face, only wanted to leave the extreme battle arena as soon as possible. Miao Zhinshan waved his hand and summoned a fey carriage while everyone was watching and discussing. After the fey carriage appeared, Miao Zhinshan took Miao Ji Jing Kaiyuan and the old woman behind him and left the extreme arena. During this time, Miao Zhinshan didn't say a word to Di Wanqing, who had come with him. Di Wanqing's face darkened. He cupped his hands at Gu Han and greeted her before chasing after Miao Zhinshan. At that moment, the dark clouds above the extreme arena had drifted into the distance after the downpour. The sun rose in the east and it rained in the west. There was no clear sky, but there was a clear sky. On Lin Yuan's side, the sky was clear after the rain, but the dark clouds in the direction that Miao Zhinshan had left were even thicker. As the dark clouds gathered in the distance, a rainbow was set up in the sky. The appearance of this rainbow seemed to reflect the miracle that had just happened in the extreme arena. Looking at the rainbow in the sky, Lin Yuan felt that it was time to leave the extreme arena and go to Indigo Azure City to meet Jing Kaiyan. After leaving the extreme arena with the people from Sky City, Lin Yuan gave them a few instructions and used the ethereal jellyfish's node teleportation ability. He teleported from the royal capital to Indigo Azure City. As the ethereal jellyfish reached Diamond X/Legend, it had condensed a lot of spatial crystals through its wandering fishing ability. When he had cut the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles, he had found that it could speed up the growth of its tentacles by absorbing the spatial crystals it had created. This made it easier for him to set up the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles all over the Radiance Federation for node teleportation. Ever since he had started thinking about the veteran faction, the Zheng family, he had ordered the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce's people to set up the ethereal jellyfish's tentacles bit by bit in the direction of Indigo Azure City. Now he was going to use multiple node teleportation to carry out an ultra-long distance trip. This trip was also a big test for the spiritual power in his body. Along the way, Miao Zhinshan looked at Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan with a gloomy expression. Miao Zhinshan, who had lost his old partner, been threatened by Sky City, and been humiliated in the extreme arena, could no longer control his emotions. Miao Zhinshan's thunderous rage scared Miao Ji and Jing Kaiyuan so much that they did not dare to speak. Jing Kaiyuan was not a fool. On the contrary, he had always been very smart. Jing Kaiyuan had become so arrogant mainly because the Miao family had given him help. The addition of an Emperor-class expert had made Jing Kaiyuan feel that Sky City was bound to lose in the Blood Oath Extreme battle. However, Jing Kaiyuan had not expected Sky City to be so strong. Even 2 veteran Emperor-class experts had been killed by Sky City in seconds. Now that the Miao family had lost 2 Emperor-class experts because of him, it was equivalent to saying that he had made a huge mistake. Even if he died 10,000 times, it would not be enough to make up for such a mistake. However, Miao Zhinshan was willing to spend a world crystal to save him, which meant that he was still useful. Jing Kaiyuan did not think that his life alone was worth the price of a world crystal. Miao Zhinshan must have saved him because he held the channel to communicate with the Moon Empress disciple. The Miao family also needed this channel. Especially after losing 2 Emperor-class experts, the Miao family needed the Golden Lotus Brocade to stabilize the Miao family's situation. At that thought, Jing Kaiyuan felt as though he had caught a fatal straw, which made him feel at ease. Jing Kaiyuan calculated in his heart. Now that the Jing family was gone, he could only stay with the Miao family. As a sinner of the Miao family, how could he use this life-saving straw to let himself live long and long in the Miao family? This was the question that Jing Kaiyuan urgently needed to consider. Miao Ji's body was curled up and trembling. It was said that no one knew a son better than his father. As Miao Zhinshan's biological daughter, Miao Ji knew Miao Zhinshan the best. End of this chapter. Chapter 1133. In the extreme battle arena, his father had only mentioned saving his son Jing Kaiyuan. This meant that his father did not care about his life or death. Because of his life, his father had lost a world crystal because of his pride. How could he have a good life after returning to the Miao family? At that moment, Miao Zhinshan's expression suddenly changed. Miao Zhinshan realized that Di Wanqing had appeared not far in front of his fey carriage. Seeing Miao Zhinshan's fey carriage driving over, Di Wanqing spoke indifferently. Miao Zhinshan, your fey carriage isn't fast enough. I've been waiting for you here for a long time. When Miao Zhinshan saw Di Wanqing, he immediately snorted and did not stop the fey carriage. Instead, he let the fey carriage crash towards Di Wanqing. Di Wanqing had been a guest at the Miao family and had discussed cooperation with him. It had happened suddenly, and he had brought Di Wanqing to the extreme battle arena because Miao Zhinshan knew that Di Wanqing had a personal relationship with Gu Han. He wanted Di Wanqing to help him speak up in front of Gu Han. Who would have thought that Di Wanqing would not even let out a fart? Therefore, Miao Zhinshan was already extremely displeased with Di Wanqing and did not want to continue discussing cooperation with him. When Di Wanqing saw Miao Zhinshan driving the fey carriage towards him without saying a word, he immediately raised his brow. His brow immediately twitched and a wicked smile appeared on his elegant face. An immortal aura was suddenly released from Di Wanqing's body, and the aura was like a chain that locked Miao Zhinshan's fey carriage tightly in the air. Wanqing has come personally. Miao Zhinshan, why are you rejecting him? Miao Zhinshan, who was firmly pressed against the fey carriage by Di Wanqing's aura, narrowed his eyes. He then looked straight at Di Wanqing. Seeing that Miao Zhinshan was looking at him, Di Wanqing suddenly withdrew his aura. It was as if the immortal aura that was like a chain just now had never appeared. Miao Zhinshan, I think we can talk about cooperation now, right? After looking at Di Wanqing for a long time, Miao Zhinshan spoke indifferently. Do I have the right to say no? Di Wanqing smiled playfully when he heard this. Of course you can say no, but you know how many blood debts have been created by saying no since ancient times. Do you still remember how the Beast Creation Garden treated the Du Immortal Garden? It could be said that Di Wanqing's words were a blatant threat to Miao Zhinshan. Miao Zhinshan thought. If it weren't for the fact that the Miao family had lost 2 veteran emperor-level powerhouses, Di Wanqing wouldn't have made such a threat even if the cooperation didn't work out. At this time, the Miao family was obviously at a disadvantage, so they could not refuse Di Wanqing's request. As the second-in-command of Whale Ocean Trading, Di Wanqing had the right to make one of the top 3 factions target the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden. The Beast Creation Garden, which had lost 2 veteran emperor-level powerhouses, still had to face public criticism. The suppression of the whale ocean trade was absolutely unbearable. As the patriarch of the Miao family, Miao Zhinshan would not allow the Miao family to continue declining after losing 2 emperor-level powerhouses. Since he couldn't resist, he might as well enjoy it. After enjoying it, they would get some benefits. This was the way to run a force. Miao Zhinshan said. All right, I agree to cooperate with whale ocean trade. However, I have a request. Seeing that Miao Zhinshan agreed so sensibly, Di Wanqing touched his brow and said. As expected of you. You're indeed straightforward. You didn't even ask about the details of the cooperation before you agreed. Miao Zhinshan replied expressionlessly, I agreed with a condition. I agreed on a condition. I need whale ocean trading to provide resources for the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden so that our 2 peak stage Emperor-class experts can improve further. Our Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will be secluded for 10 years. During these 10 years, the creation master resources of the Miao family's Beast Creation Garden will be prioritized to serve whale ocean trade. Upon hearing Miao Zhinshan's words, Di Wanqing's eyes suddenly flashed with a sinister glow. Di Wanqing muttered softly. Seclusion for 10 years. Seclusion is good. Hee, our whale ocean trade's sea-sky lineage has also been secluding. Upon hearing Di Wanqing's words, Miao Zhinshan recalled that the whale ocean trade's sea-sky lineage had not gone out for at least 10 years. So it was because the sea-sky lineage was secluding. The increasing number of island whales in the whale ocean trade should have a lot to do with the sea-sky lineage's seclusion. The sea-sky lineage was probably doing its best to nurture new island whales for the whale ocean trade. However, nurturing island whales required a lot of resources. Even if the whale ocean trade could earn the difference in price through trading island whales between the various federations, it should not be able to afford such a consumption of resources. However, nurturing island whales required a lot of resources. Miao Zhinshan, who was deep in thought, did not notice the increasingly sinister gaze in Di Wanqing's eyes. It was as though this sinister gaze could occupy everything. It was also as though he was looking forward to and worshipping the upcoming revival. As soon as he teleported to Indigo Azure City through the node, Lin Yuan sat down on the road in Indigo Azure City. Along the way he found a break to change out of Sky City's standard attire. He changed into a set of black and white spirit chi attire with a simple design and style. Sitting on the road, he felt as though his entire body had been hollowed out. There was not a single drop left. This feeling of weakness made his head a little dizzy. Lin Yuan thought to himself, even if my body is good, I can't torture myself like this. I must not overdraft the spiritual power in my body unless it's necessary, even if it's to test my abilities. The people of Indigo Azure City were simple and honest. When they saw Lin Yuan fall on the road, an auntie walked over to see if he was sick and helped him up. This auntie was obviously a spirit chi professional. When she arrived in front of Lin Yuan and saw the situation, she immediately knew what was going on with him. The auntie stretched her neck and shouted on the road. Which of your fays can recover spiritual power? There's a handsome young man here who has overdrafted his spiritual power. Who can help him recover some spiritual power? Just as the auntie shouted twice, another auntie came over. The new auntie waved her hand and summoned a peerless spirit Samoyed of the same grade. The peerless spirit Samoyed was a canine fae that could grow up to over 1 meter long. The peerless spirit Samoyed's ability to recover spiritual power was not very good. However, due to its appearance it was very suitable as a pet, making it very expensive. Lin Yuan thought to himself. It turns out that this auntie who helped me recover spiritual power is a rich woman. The pellet spirit Samoyed circled around Lin Yuan a few times, but it didn't help him recover much spiritual power. Although it could not help Lin Yuan recover much spiritual power, it also solved the embarrassing situation of overdrafting his spiritual power. After recovering a trace of spiritual power, Lin Yuan waved his hand and used Little Black's basic ability, Spirit Injection. End of this chapter. Chapter 1134. Under the Diamond X/Legendary Blackie's Spiritual Injection, Blackie's spiritual shield was activated. Even though Lin Yuan was the one who had executed the skill and did not summon Blackie, Lin Yuan was the one who had executed the skill. Lin Yuan's spiritual power immediately recovered. When Lin Yuan saw the two aunties standing in front of him with concerned expressions, he quickly thanked them. The two aunties noticed Lin Yuan waving his hand to restore their spiritual power. Although they did not know how much spiritual power Lin Yuan could recover with a wave of his hand, they had already speculated that he was a support-type spirit chi professional with the ability to recover spiritual power. Seeing this, the rich pelagic Samoyed auntie spoke in a sincere and heartfelt tone. Child, you are only 15 or 16 years old. Next time, remember that as a spirit chi professional, as long as you aren't risking your life in battle, don't let your body's spirit chi be depleted. You can't even restore your own spiritual power after exhausting it, let alone assist your teammates. Lin Yuan scratched his head in embarrassment. In fact, he had exhausted his spiritual power mainly because he had calculated how many nodes he could teleport with full spiritual power. This would allow him to have a clear understanding of his abilities. He was about to go to the Divine Wood Federation for training, so he would use the ethereal jellyfish node teleportation a lot. Doing the calculations now would be of great benefit to his future training. Although the auntie's teachings were useless to Lin Yuan quickly replied to her help. Thank you, aunties. I'll be more careful next time. After thanking them, Lin Yuan waved goodbye to the two aunties. After Lin Yuan left, one of the two aunties suddenly asked with some doubt. Why does that child look so familiar? Where have I seen him before? After one of the aunts finished speaking, the other aunts hurriedly echoed. I also feel like I've seen it somewhere before, but I can't remember where. Lin Yuan, who was walking on the streets of Indigo Azure City, had already released the Void Shadow Demon from the Spirit Lock spatial zone. The Void Shadow Devil once again entered Lin Yuan's shadow. Lin Yuan lowered his head and said to the Void Shadow Demon in the shadow. Shadow, you did well today. I've more or less gathered all the source-type energy you need to become an apostle. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the Void Shadow Fiend in Lin Yuan's shadow immediately became excited. However, the excited Void Shadow Demon immediately became apprehensive. The Void Shadow Demon whispered to Lin Yuan. Master, I've already reached the 11th level of the 8th tribulation of creation for a very long time, but I've never had the opportunity to break through. When I killed those 2 humans in 2 creation breed phase just now, I vaguely felt a breakthrough opportunity descend. Master, I wonder if I can request to undergo the source baptism to transform into an apostle at a later time. I want to make use of this opportunity to grow, and then use the source-type baptism to ascend to an apostle to see if I can directly rush to level 12. The nothingness shadow fiend spoke very cautiously, even humbly. As for the opportunity to break through, the shadowless demon really wanted to use it rationally. From there, the possibility of leveling up would be realized. However, the void shadow demon was afraid that Lin Yuan would not be willing to perform the source-type baptism on it if it made this request. Most of the Abyss World's demon apostles had strange tempers. Many evil demons might incur the apostle's displeasure because of the wrong breathing rate when receiving the apostle's reward. As a result, they were deprived of the opportunity to receive the reward. After making the request, the nothingness shadow demon felt apprehensive from the bottom of its heart. When Lin Yuan heard the nothingness shadow demon's words, he clenched his fists tightly. He was abnormally happy. After witnessing Gu Han and Di Wanqing's power today, Lin Yuan realized that immortal experts had an absolute suppressive power over emperor-class experts. Therefore, Lin Yuan really hoped that he could also grasp the power of an immortal expert. It could be said that the nothingness shadow demon had given Lin Yuan a huge surprise. Shadow, no problem at all. In addition, if there are any material requirements during the process of brewing the opportunity, you can tell me directly. I will do my best to help you break through to become a level 12-dimensional lifeform. Hearing Lin Yuan's words, the nothingness shadow demon was once again warmed. After feeling the surging warmth in its heart for a while, the nothingness shadow demon spoke. Master, during the process of brewing the opportunity, I don't need to spend any resources. I just need to quietly brew. Upon hearing the nothingness shadow demon's words, Lin Yuan suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked. Shadow, will you encounter any danger during the process of evolving from a level 11-8 tribulation Fey to a level 12 Fey? Lin Yuan had never seen a dimensional life form that was level 8 or above evolving. Therefore, he didn't know if dimensional life forms would encounter the world cleansing and the calamity of creation-like phase. If the nothingness shadow demon was evolving into a level 12 dimensional life form, it would encounter a calamity that could lead to its death. Lin Yuan would be able to immediately report the situation to his master, the Moon Empress, and ask for her help. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, the nothingness shadow demon recalled the calamity that the Moon Empress had to experience when evolving phase. The nothingness shadow demon immediately knew what Lin Yuan was worried about. The nothingness shadow demon quickly replied. Master, we abyssal demons are unable to sense the opportunity to evolve when our strength is insufficient. If we sense the opportunity and want to evolve, we won't encounter any danger like when phase evolve. It's just that when I evolve, it will cause a huge commotion. Upon hearing the nothingness shadow demon's words, Lin Yuan nodded. It was easy to find a place for the nothingness shadow demon to evolve into a level 12-dimensional lifeform. It was easy to find a place for the nothingness shadow demon to evolve into a level 12-dimensional lifeform. Therefore, he wasn't confident in letting the nothingness shadow demon evolve in the main world. However, the swamp world was an excellent place. He would arrange for the nothingness shadow demon to evolve in the swamp world. After communicating with the nothingness shadow demon, it quietly stayed in Lin Yuan's shadow and continued to sense that breakthrough opportunity. Lin Yuan went to a specialty restaurant. When he arrived, he casually ordered a cup of caramel milk tea. Then he dialed Jing Kaiyan's number in the restaurant. Lin Yuan's call was quickly picked up by Jing Kaiyan. Lin Yuan didn't talk too much with Jing Kaiyan over the phone. He just reported the restaurant's address and name. He quietly waited for Jing Kaiyan's arrival in the restaurant. Jing Kaiyan hung up the phone and froze for a long time while holding the phone. Jing Kaiyan knew that receiving this call meant that the Jing family had lost to Sky City in the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. Even if Jing Kaiyuan had invited the Miao family's 2 Emperor-class experts for help, Jing Kaiyan's heart first hurt before he actually felt a kind of perverted pleasure. End of this chapter. Chapter 1135. Zheng Kaiyan had always felt that he was a caged bird abandoned by the Jing family. Now he could finally break out of the cage and take charge of the Jing family. No one in the Jing family would be able to stop him. Anyone in the Jing family who could stop him had lost their lives in the Blood Oath Extreme duel. With that thought, the last bit of pain in Zheng Kaiyan's heart dissipated. Zheng Kaiyan first touched his chest, then touched the wheelchair under him. He then shouted at the door. "The sun is pretty good today. Bring me out for a walk." Upon hearing Zheng Kaiyan's instructions, a man with a scar on his face walked in from the door. The scarred man could not help but feel puzzled. The wind in Indigo Azure City was very strong today, and the parasol tree branches in the courtyard were constantly swaying. Due to Third Young Master's physique, he had never liked windy weather. Why was he saying that the sun was pretty good today and that he wanted to go out for a walk? However, even if he had doubts in his heart, the scarred man did not dare to casually ask. The scarred man first covered Zheng Kaiyan's legs with a blanket and then pushed Zheng Kaiyan's wheelchair with ease. The scarred man did not know why, but he felt that the current Third Young Master was very different from the Third Young Master he knew previously. The Third Young Master's eyes were no longer forbearing, but freedom and ambition. The scarred man had been by Zheng Kaiyan's side for over a decade and had watched Zheng Kaiyan grow up. The scarred man vaguely remembered that he had only seen this kind of gaze when Zheng Kaiyan was young. He was currently struggling with the caramel milk tea in his hand. He had used the ethereal jellyfish's ability node to teleport from the royal capital to Indigo Azure City, so he was really thirsty. However, this store's caramel milk tea was simply too sweet. The caramel milk tea made him even more thirsty. He could not help but have a doubt in his heart. In the end, this store was too honest and added a little more sugar in the milk tea, afraid that customers would feel that it was not sweet enough. Or was the store too cunning and wanted to use this method to make customers order other drinks in the store? The more Lin Yuan drank, the more thirsty he got. He had no choice but to order a glass of ice water. Lin Yuan thought to himself, "You can't possibly add something else to the ice water, right?" After drinking the ice water that the waiter served, his thirst was suppressed. Lin Yuan was sitting in front of the window, and he could see Indigo Azure City's street view by turning his head. As it was past 9 in the morning, the busy people of Indigo Azure City were already in their positions. This caused the wide streets of Indigo Azure City to be sparsely populated. At present, most of the pedestrians on the streets were very leisurely, and Lin Yuan felt exceptionally leisurely as he watched these people's slow pace of life. Not long after, the door of the restaurant was pushed open again. Lin Yuan saw a man with a scar pushing a wheelchair into the store. Immediately after, the store's attendants went up to welcome him enthusiastically. From this, it could be seen that the person sitting in the wheelchair must be very noble. Zheng Kaiyan didn't pay attention to the waiters who surrounded him. Instead, he glanced around the restaurant. After Zheng Kaiyan scanned the area, his gaze stopped on Lin Yuan. Although Lin Yuan did not wear the mask that represented his identity as the Sky City Lord, his temperament was obviously different from the other diners in the store. There was an indescribable air of nobility. Zheng Kaiyan said to the waiters around him, "I'm meeting a friend. You don't have to worry about me. In addition, I'm booking your restaurant. Except for my friend by the window, I'll pay for all the other diners. Immediately arrange for those who haven't finished eating to eat elsewhere." After saying that, Zheng Kaiyan knocked on the wheelchair twice and pointed in Lin Yuan's direction. The scarred man immediately pushed Zheng Kaiyan in Lin Yuan's direction. Upon hearing Zheng Kaiyan's instructions, the restaurant's waiters hurriedly sent someone to make arrangements. The Zheng family was one of the 3 old forces in Indigo Azure City. Even if Zheng Kaiyan did not go out often, the waiters in the store would also deliberately remember Zheng Kaiyan's appearance. With the Zheng family's 3rd Young Master title, the waiters quickly completed the clearing. After clearing, all the other waiters returned to the kitchen. They left the front seats completely for Zheng Kaiyan and Lin Yuan. Only one waiter was left standing in the distance, ready to serve at any time. When Lin Yuan heard Zheng Kaiyan's instructions to the restaurant waiters, he raised his eyebrows and did not refuse Zheng Kaiyan's arrangement. Then Lin Yuan waved his hand at the waiters standing in the distance and said, "We have something to discuss. We don't need your service here." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's instructions, the waiters hurriedly bowed at Lin Yuan and quickly walked to the kitchen. The waiters who left let out a huge sigh of relief. After the scarred man pushed the wheelchair in front of Lin Yuan, Xianxia, who was sitting in the wheelchair, said to the scarred man, "Stand guard outside. Stand guard outside. Don't let anyone enter this shop." The scarred man stared at Lin Yuan a few times before looking at Xianxia. It was obvious that he was very worried about leaving Xianxia alone here. However, the scarred man did not dare to disobey Xianxia's instructions and retreated outside the store. After the scarred man retreated outside the store, Xianxia used both hands to press down on the wheelchair and propped his body up with great effort. Then he pushed the wheelchair backward, causing Xianxia to kneel on the ground. Xianxia immediately prepared to use the willpower rune to pledge loyalty to Lin Yuan. However, just as Xianxia summoned the willpower rune, before Xianxia could issue the loyalty oath, Xianxia heard the youth sitting in front of him say softly, "As expected of the Zheng family's third young master. As expected of the third young master of the Zheng clan. The biography said that you were intelligent since you were young. Now that I've seen you today, you are indeed worthy of your reputation. But using the willpower rune to issue the loyalty oath now is a little too impatient. It is true that your attitude is very important, but if you want to become a servant, you have to see if you are worthy of being a servant." Lin Yuan's words made Xianxia's body stiffen. Xianxia was indeed putting on an act and wanted to use this method to give the person in front of him a good impression. When Xianxia saw Lin Yuan's appearance, he was already secretly shocked. Xianxia had seen Lin Yuan's appearance before. Xianxia recognized Lin Yuan as the genius youth who had defeated the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Su in one move during the All-Star match. However, Xianxia did not dare to associate the genius youth Lin Yuan with the Sky City's city lord. If the person who came was an elder, Xianxia might not have put on such an act. However, Lin Yuan was just a youth, and most youths like to let their emotions affect their decisions. If he could leave a good impression at the start, he might be able to fight for greater benefits. However, he did not expect the other party to see through his tricks and address him as the Zheng family's third young master. This form of address caused Xianxia's heart to turn cold. End of this chapter. Chapter 1136. The Zheng family had lost to Sky City in the Blood Oath Extreme fight, so they deserved to die. Lin Yuan's words indicated that if he did not immediately prove his value, he would follow in the footsteps of the other Zheng family members. At the same time, Lin Yuan mentioned that he had been smart when he was young, which meant that he had investigated him. Lin Yuan had investigated him and was willing to come over, which meant that he was willing to give him a chance to live and be loyal. However, he had to prove his value first. At that moment, Xianxia racked his brains and could not think of what value he had. The Zheng family's experts had been slaughtered by Sky City, leaving only the 3 Nightmare Squad members by his side. It was not enough to support the Zheng family's overall situation. Suddenly, Xianxia thought of the 2 Emperor-class experts the Miao family had lent to the Zheng family. Presumably, after Sky City had killed the 2 Emperor-class experts, it had formed a deadly feud with the Miao family. "My lord, I've collected a lot of secrets about the Miao family's beast creation garden. These secrets should be useful for you to fight against the Miao family." In addition, before Xianxia could finish speaking, Lin Yuan interrupted him coldly. "When 2 tigers fight, the rabbit doesn't have time to breathe. Don't have any crooked thoughts. The Miao family's beast creation garden is a tiger in your eyes, but not in mine. You still don't know what use you have?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Xianxia broke out in a cold sweat. Xianxia did not intend to instigate a war between Sky City and the Miao family. However, Lin Yuan had clearly misunderstood him. Xianxia's brain quickly pondered and he finally said, "My lord, I'll do whatever you want me to do in the future." "Sir, I will do whatever you ask me to do in the future. I'll listen to your arrangements." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan smiled slightly. "The first thing you have to do next is to cooperate with the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce and let the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce absorb all the Miao family's luxury goods online and offline resources. The second thing is to stabilize the Zheng family's overall situation. Can you do these 2 things?" Xianxia hurriedly promised. "My lord, I can strive to do these 2 things. However, I'm afraid some people will have objections if I let the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce take over the Jing family's luxury goods online and offline resources. There will also be resistance when I do things. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan replied indifferently. As a direct descendant of an old faction, you should know that when you're making decisions as a leader, you should know that. How should we deal with people who don't obey the decision makers? Upon hearing that, Jing Kaiyan was shocked. My lord, the Jing family now has 4 Class 4 creation masters. These 4 Class 4 creation masters will usually be nurturing high-class luxury goods for the Jing family. I'm afraid they will have objections. Lin Yuan let out a cold snort. Go and make the arrangements later. I want to meet these 4 Class 4 creation masters. I will settle the matter regarding the 4 Class 4 creation masters. If I get rid of these 4 Class 4 creation masters, you won't be able to control the Jing family's overall situation. Then you really have no value at all. Jing Kaiyan guaranteed in fear. My lord, without the obstruction of these 4 Class 4 creation masters, I will definitely be able to take control of the Jing family's current predicament. When the time comes, I will definitely be able to complete the task assigned to me. After completing these tasks, I will do my best to use the Jing family to provide the greatest value for my lord. Upon hearing Jing Kaiyan's statement, Lin Yuan placed the ice water on the table and stood up. Sometimes becoming a servant isn't a bad thing. If you do well, you might be able to leave that lump of metal behind you. Lin Yuan's words were like a piece of gospel that was transmitted into Jing Kaiyan's heart. Jing Kaiyan immediately used the willpower rune to swear and became Lin Yuan's servant. At the same time, Jing Kaiyan was abnormally pleasantly surprised because the latter half of Lin Yuan's sentence was not deceiving him. If Lin Yuan wasn't deceiving him, then he just had to work hard for Lin Yuan in the future. Jing Kaiyan wished to stand up even in his dreams and rely on his own legs to walk on the ground. The moment Jing Kaiyan became Lin Yuan's servant, it allowed him to have authority and freedom of thought in the Jing family. Now Lin Yuan's words allowed Jing Kaiyan to have freedom of body. When looking at Jing Kaiyan's excited expression, Lin Yuan's expression didn't have the slightest change. Sky City had killed most of the Jing family's people, so it could be said that Sky City and Jing Kaiyan were related. Even if Jing Kaiyan became his servant now, Lin Yuan wouldn't put him in an important position. Although the 4 Class 4 creation masters of the Jing family didn't have the surname Jing, they had lived in the Jing family for decades and were no different from the Jing family members. After the Blood Oath Extreme Duel's results were announced, these people could choose to leave the Jing family and develop in other factions. Because these people didn't have the surname Jing, even if Sky City won the Blood Oath Extreme Duel against the Jing family, these people weren't considered assets of the Jing family, and Sky City couldn't casually dispose of them. However, Lin Yuan, who had experienced faction struggles, knew that these 4 Class 4 creation masters had lived in the Jing family for such a long time that they definitely had feelings for the Jing family. These 4 Class 4 creation masters were destined to hate Sky City, which had slaughtered the Jing family. Therefore, if these 4 Class 4 creation masters couldn't be of use to him, Lin Yuan wouldn't let these potential enemies live. Lin Yuan didn't want to waste too much time in Indigo Azure City because of the Jing family. Lin Yuan simply asked Jing Kaiyan to bring him to meet the 4 Class 4 creation masters. Along the way with Jing Kaiyan, there was already news of Sky City and the Jing family's Blood Oath Extreme Duel. Everyone in the Jing family's ancestral mansion probably knew the results of the Blood Oath Extreme Duel. The 4 Class 4 creation masters of the Jing family usually didn't care about Jing Kaiyan, the Jing family's third young master. Now that something like this had happened, and Jing Kaiyan was the only remaining direct descendant of the Jing family. Therefore, when Jing Kaiyan had gathered the 4 Class 4 creation masters, they hadn't rejected him. The dead gathered in Jing Kaiyan's study room. Jing Kaiyan sat on the main seat in the study room while Lin Yuan sat at the side and sipped on a cup of steaming tea. At that moment, the last Class 4 creation master saw Lin Yuan and said to Jing Kaiyan with dissatisfaction, "Third young master, you called us over at this time. You let an outsider sit in the study room when you called us over at this time. You are obviously disrespecting us. In that case, I don't think there's a need for me to stay in the Jing family anymore." The woman's words were immediately echoed by the old man beside her. "Think so too. What do you think we are by bringing an outsider to the meeting at this time? Feng Shuang, if you leave, I will leave with you. When Lin Yuan heard the conversation between the old man and the woman named Feng Shuang, he revealed a playful expression. 166 Reading Network. Chapter 1137. Through the elder and Feng Shuang's words, Lin Yuan knew that these two Class 4 creation masters were not loyal to the Jing family. They did not have deep feelings for each other. At that moment, a low, muffled voice echoed. A burly man who looked like a bear said, "Old He Feng Shuang, what are you talking about? Old He Feng Shuang, what are you two talking about? The Jing family has been kind to both of us. It's immoral to leave now." The burly man said to Jing Kaiyan, "Both of us are indebted to the Jing family." After saying that, the bear-like burly man said to Jing Kaiyan. The burly man said to Jing Kaiyan, "Third young master, I'm willing to stay with the Jing family. However, it's a favor for me to stay with the Jing family during a time of crisis. When the time comes, the Jing family will give me twice as many resources as before." As soon as the burly man finished speaking, the Class 4 creation master named Feng Shuang said, "Hu Tian, I remember that your main Fei is only at suzerain Class 3/Myth I. The Jing family has fallen, and the other two families in Indigo Azure City might be plotting something. If the Jing family falls, the other two families in Indigo Azure City might be plotting something. If you stay and help the Jing family defend the position, don't blame me for warning you if you die in the end." Hu Tian frowned and thought for a while before saying, "If it really comes to that, I will naturally leave. If it really comes to that, I will naturally leave. But the current situation is far from that stage. If the few of us stay, we might really be able to help the third young master." Hu Tian's words immediately provoked the feminine man who had been silent all this while to ridicule him. "Hu Tian, you speak so righteously, but don't you still want double the resources? In my opinion, the four of us might as well join the Miao family together. We are all Class 4 creation masters, and Old He is an intermediate Class 4 creation master. The Miao family has lost 2 Emperor-class experts and is in urgent need of expanding their strength. If we join the Miao family now, we will get good treatment." Second young master and madam were rescued by the Miao family's family head with 2 world crystals. It shows how much the family head values second young master and madam. The feminine man's words immediately made Feng Shuang and Old He ponder, and Hu Tian blushed. However, Hu Tian's eyes quickly revealed a thoughtful look, as if he was considering the feasibility of the effeminate man's words. After some observation, Lin Yuan had more or less grasped the nature and temperament of the 4 Class 4 creation masters. Feng Shuang and Lao He sought advantages and avoided disadvantages, unwilling to take risks. He had no feelings for the Zheng family that he had stayed with for more than 10 years, and his personal safety was the most important thing to him. Hu Tian had quite a bit of affection for the Jing family, but he also valued benefits. Even when they were swayed by emotions, they would first ensure their own benefits. After hearing the feminine-looking man's words, Hu Tian did not refute him immediately. Instead, he revealed a thoughtful expression. This meant that, compared to feelings, benefits and development dominated Hu Tian's thoughts. On the other hand, Lin Yuan couldn't figure out the feminine-looking man. However, this effeminate-looking man wanted to develop his career in the Miao family, which meant that this effeminate-looking man had been very close to Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji in the Jing family. It was just that this feminine man didn't know what was good for him. The Miao family's patriarch Miao Zhenshan had used 2 world crystals to redeem Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. But it was definitely not because of Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji. Miao Zhenshan was probably the person who hated Jing Kaiyuan and Miao Ji's death the most. In any case, in the face of Feng Shuang who cared about her life, Lao He and Hu Tian who valued benefits, if he wanted to subdue them, he needed to intimidate them and make them fearful. At that moment, the feminine-looking man spoke again. "After arriving at the Miao family, the 4 of us can continue to fight with Sky City under the Miao family's leadership. It can also be considered as doing our part for the Jing family." At that time, the Miao family, before the effeminate-looking man could finish his sentence, his body was silently cleaved into 2 halves and he fell to the ground. The sudden change caused Feng Shuang, Lao He, Hu Tian and Jing Kaiyan to exclaim. Jing Kaiyan had been listening to Feng Shuang, Lao He, Hu Tian and the feminine-looking man's words and had been thinking about what Lin Yuan would do. All four of them had requests and their emotions were rather complicated. Zheng Kaiyan could not think of how Lin Yuan would make Feng Shuang, Lao He and the others submit. Who would have thought that he would use this method to break out of the situation? He would kill the feminine-looking man who had wholeheartedly submitted to the Miao family and would almost never submit to Sky City. He would use the feminine-looking man's life to intimidate Feng Shuang, Lao He and the others. Feng Shuang, Lao He and Hu Tian immediately wanted to summon their fays in fear when they saw the change in front of them. It could be said that the scene in front of them was beyond the scope of Feng Shuang, Lao He and Hu Tian's understanding. However, the three of them were very familiar with this scene. This was because they had just seen this scene in the Star Web report. The two Emperor-class experts that the Miao family had sent to help the Zheng family had been silently split into two in the extreme arena. At that moment, the three of them only heard a clear and pleasant voice. However, this clear and pleasant voice was like the King of Hell's urging in their ears. Whoever summons their fays will be the next one to be split into two. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Feng Shuang and Lao He immediately trembled. Hu Tian was much stronger than Feng Shuang and Lao He. However, in the face of Lin Yuan's death notice, Hu Tian did not dare to act rashly. Feng Shuang, whose teeth were chattering, could not help but ask, "You're from Sky City. What do you want?" Looking at the split feminine man on the ground, Lin Yuan stored the man's body in the diamond face storage box. Then he instructed Feng Shuang, Lao He and Hu Tian. "The ground is dirty. The three of you clean it up." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Feng Shuang, Lao He and Hu Tian's faces revealed obvious resistance. The three of them were Class 4 creation masters and were used to being flattered. Usually, apart from concocting the spirit fluid, there would be people to take care of everything. The three of them had never done such a disgusting cleaning job. But in the end, without Lin Yuan's urging, Feng Shuang and Lao He took the lead to clean the ground. Upon seeing that Feng Shuang and Lao He were about to clean the ground, Hu Tian suddenly thought of the feminine man who had just been split into two. The feminine man had been split into two because he had said that he would join the Miao family to fight against Sky City. A single sentence could invite death. Hu Tian was afraid that after Feng Shuang and Lao He cleaned the ground, he would follow in the feminine man's footsteps. Because he did not take action, he would follow in the feminine man's footsteps. Thinking of this, Hu Tian also hurriedly joined the cleaning work. Upon seeing the situation, Lin Yuan nodded. Since the three of them had listened to his orders, it meant that it was not impossible for him to make them submit. It was often easy to conquer a person by grasping the weakness of human nature. Lin Yuan felt that he did not need to spend any more effort to immediately obtain the loyalty of Feng Shuang and Lao He, who valued their lives and safety the most. "It has been a long time since I voted. Do you think I should be more decisive in killing or more benevolent? Do you think this chapter's level is cold-blooded?" End of this chapter. Chapter 1138. As for Hu Tian, he still needed to use some other things to attract and control him. However, Lin Yuan didn't just want the trio's loyalty. While Lin Yuan wanted the three Class 4 creation masters to be loyal to him, he also had to ensure that they would work hard for him. If these three Class 4 creation masters were to act deceitfully after pledging their loyalty to him, then their value would be infinitely reduced. Moreover, he could produce high-class creation master resources and had the 100 Questions Beast Legion. Lin Yuan wasn't as eager to have Class 4 creation masters join him like the other factions. Feng Shuang, Old He, and Hu Tian trembled with fear as they cleaned up the dirty ground. Lin Yuan reached out and threw a brocade sachet on the ground in the middle of the trio. Be it Feng Shuang, Old He, or Hu Tian, they were all extremely nervous. The fear when they had just witnessed the feminine man being split into two wasn't as real as when they had to personally clean up the man's bloodstains. In the process of cleaning up the bloodstains on the ground, the trio could feel the imminent death even more vividly. Thus, when Lin Yuan made the action of throwing the brocade pouch, the three of them trembled and subconsciously took a step back. They then looked at Lin Yuan in confusion as they didn't understand what he meant by throwing the brocade sachet on the ground. Lin Yuan didn't care about Feng Shuang and Old He. Instead, he looked at Hu Tian and said, "Pick up the brocade sachet on the ground and open it." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's instructions, Hu Tian hurriedly bent down to pick up the brocade sachet from the ground. However, while opening the brocade sachet, Hu Tian's heart was pounding. He didn't understand why Lin Yuan picked him to open the brocade sachet among the three of them. Could it be that I was the slowest when Lin Yuan was assigning the mission? Could there be something in this brocade sachet to punish me? Even if there was something in this brocade sachet to punish me, Hu Tian knew that he didn't have the right to refuse to open the brocade sachet. After all, his life was in Lin Yuan's hands. If he made Lin Yuan unhappy, he would be the next one to be split into two. However, when Hu Tian opened the brocade sachet, his eyes suddenly widened. His eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Hu Tian realized that the brocade sachet was actually filled with law crystals that contained pure power of law. This was a priceless treasure that all spirit chi professionals yearned for, and it was something that they would never be able to concoct. It wasn't just them. Even Pinnacle Class 4 creation masters couldn't concoct it. Suddenly, a bold guess appeared in Hu Tian's throat. Could Sky City be backed by a Class 5 creation master? When Hu Tian opened the brocade pouch and revealed the law crystal, Xing Kaiyan Feng Shuang and Old He also saw it. Xing Kaiyan Feng Shuang and Lao He all came to the same conclusion. Although the news of a Class 5 creation master in Sky City was truly shocking, Sky City's creation master was still a creation master. However, ever since the Moon Empress had become a Class 5 creation master, the Radiance Federation had not had another Class 5 creation master for decades. It was not impossible for a Class 5 creation master to appear. Everyone present knew what it meant to be a Class 5 creation master. Xing Kaiyan Feng Shuang Old He and Hu Tian did not know why Sky City's Class 5 creation master had not announced his identity to the royal court. If Sky City's Class 5 creation master announced his identity, Sky City would become a faction that had the same status as the Radiant Moon Palace, Kitchen Fragrance Palace and Purple Bamboo Forest. God knew how many veteran factions and pinnacle factions would line up to express goodwill to Sky City. At that moment, Feng Shuang Old He and Hu Tian could not help but feel that the Zheng family was not worthy of the Blood Oath Extreme duel with Sky City. They felt that the Zheng family and Sky City's Blood Oath Extreme duel deserved to be annihilated. In Feng Shuang Old He and Hu Tian's hearts, the Zheng family's behavior had already been labeled as offending a Class 5 creation master. Xing Kaiyan stared at the brocade pouch in Hu Tian's hand for a long time before turning to Lin Yuan and asking cautiously, "Master, these law crystals." Before Xing Kaiyan could finish speaking, he saw Lin Yuan looking at him with a cold gaze. Before Xing Kaiyan could finish speaking, he saw Lin Yuan looking at him with a cold gaze. Just as Xing Kaiyan was about to admit his mistake, Lin Yuan said coldly, "Don't worry. I will inform you even if you don't want to know what you should know. I will inform you even if you don't want to know what you shouldn't know. Even if you ask about things that you shouldn't know, you won't get an answer." After saying that, Lin Yuan turned his head and looked straight at Hu Tian. "Following me is much more promising than staying with the Zheng family or the Miao family's beast creation garden." "Of course not. That person just now is your example." Upon hearing that, Feng Shuang Old He and Hu Tian's eyes suddenly lit up. Although Lin Yuan did not admit that Sky City had a Class 5 creation master, he did not refute it either. Coupled with the bag of law origin crystals that contained pure power of laws, the trio could already confirm that there was a Class 5 creation master overseeing the Sky City to a large extent. If it was obtained from the Moon Empress, the Bamboo Monarch and the Supreme Chef, the origin crystal of laws would not be able to survive. No matter how influential the Sky City was, it was impossible for them to ask for so much. With this in mind, the three of them were no longer resistant to Sky City's overbearing recruitment. Among them, Hu Tian, who cared the most about resources and his future, was already feeling slightly excited. Lin Yuan looked at Feng Shuang's Old He's and Hu Tian's reactions. It seemed that it was no longer a problem for him to subdue these three Class 4 creation masters. However, even if there was an oath to guarantee their loyalty after subduing these three Class 4 creation masters, it would not be able to shut their mouths. For example, Lin Yuan did not want the news of a Class 5 creation master and the law crystal to spread outside no matter what. The three of them were Class 4 creation masters and their words carried great weight outside. If the four of them spread the news of a Class 5 creation master and the law crystal, it would inevitably arouse the suspicion of others. Although Xing Kaiyan also knew this news, Lin Yuan did not need to worry at all. Firstly, Lin Yuan had a certain understanding of Xing Kaiyan's character through reading the biography. He could be sure that Zhou Xian would not dare to spread this news. A person who did not hesitate to exchange the lives of his direct descendants and the future of his faction for freedom would understand the value of freedom and life. Secondly, Zhou Xian was not a creation master. In the eyes of outsiders, he was just a disabled young master of the Jing family who was raised at home. Therefore, given Zhou Xian's weight, it was hard for others to believe his words. Coupled with the conflict between the Jing family and Sky City, Zhou Xian's words would only make people guess that Zhou Xian could not stand the stimulation of his family being killed and the destruction of the Jing family. He would only say such crazy words if he had lost his mind. End of this chapter. Chapter 1139. Hu Tian, who was the most moved by Lin Yuan's words, could not help but ask, Sir, how can we follow you? Hu Tian's words immediately caused Feng Shuang and Lao He's eyes to flicker. Clearly, Feng Shuang and Lao He also wanted to know the answer to this question. Lin Yuan did not answer Hu Tian's question directly. Instead, he changed the topic. The three of you know your situation best. If you want to live, giving up your freedom is the most basic prerequisite. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Hu Tian, Feng Shuang and Old He immediately frowned. Clearly, the three of them were in conflict with Lin Yuan's words. At this moment, Hu Tian rolled his eyes. The situation was already like this. Even if they were unwilling, they had no right to speak. His reaction was the slowest when he was cleaning up the mess on the ground. Now that he was the first to pledge loyalty and set an example, he was likely to gain Lin Yuan's favorable impression. Sir, do you want us to swear on the willpower rune? If that's the case, I can swear my loyalty to you right now and become your servant. Upon hearing Hu Tian's words, Lin Yuan shook his head. Losing one's freedom isn't as simple as using a law rune to pledge allegiance. One also needs to hide from the world. You know so many things you shouldn't know. How can I be at ease if you don't hide from the world? Lin Yuan's words made Hu Tian, Feng Shuang and Old He's faces darken. Even if Hu Tian was extremely unwilling, he still forced himself to say it. I'll follow your arrangements. From now on, I, Hu Tian, will do my best to work for you after I become your servant. Upon hearing Hu Tian's words, Lin Yuan raised his brows and felt that Hu Tian was very sensible. Therefore Lin Yuan said, That's right. You are now qualified to become a servant. Upon hearing that, Hu Tian immediately used a law rune to swear to become Lin Yuan's servant. Lin Yuan said faintly as he looked at Hu Tian, who had become his servant. Summon your Fei for me to see. Upon hearing that, Hu Tian immediately summoned his main Fei. A 4-meter-tall bear species Fei appeared in the study room. This bear species Fei had explosive muscles all over its body. The most eye-catching thing was that this bear species Fei had 2 sharp claws that were almost as long as a forearm, and they were purplish gold in color. Lin Yuan could imagine how much damage the bear claw could cause if it swung out with the bear's strength. After Hu Tian's appearance, the bear Fei didn't dare to roar and stood obediently beside Hu Tian. He looked like a coward. It was obvious that Hu Tian had used his spiritual energy to inform his Fei before summoning it. Lin Yuan immediately used true data to check Hu Tian's bear Fei. Fei name, Terraclaw rock bear, spirit species, grizzly genus/grizzly family, Fei grade, suzerain 3/10, Fei type, earth, Fei quality. Myth I. After probing, Lin Yuan realized that Hu Tian's suzerain class 3/myth I Terraclaw rock bear did not rely on physical attacks. It was a Fei that mainly relied on elemental abilities to attack. The Terraclaw rock bear grasped the heavy rock rule, which could concentrate the earth element. Able to use earth elemental energy to form heavy rocks in any environment. While looking at this Terraclawed rock bear, Lin Yuan felt that apart from its attack power, it was also an expert at producing stones. This allowed the Terraclaw rock bear to easily use the swamp world's soil to condense heavy rock. These heavy rocks could be used to construct the swamp world and increase the work speed of the spirit craftsman in the swamp world. A heavy rock made by a suzerain/myth I Terraclaw rock bear would probably be as hard as some diamond-grade spiritual materials. It could be said that the Terraclaw rock bear's comprehension of the laws had given him quite a pleasant surprise. Lin Yuan said to Hu Tian, Your Terraclaw rock bear's rules aren't bad. Since you're the first one to swear loyalty to me, I'll give it to you. Then I'll reward you with 500 Earth-type Heavenly Maiden-grade elemental pearls. With the pure earth elemental energy in the heavenly maiden grade elemental pearl, the Terra Rock Bear's grade will increase rapidly. If you do well in the future, you will be rewarded with earth-type heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls. In addition, when your Terraclaw Rock Bear reaches the pinnacle of Myth 2, you can give that bag of law crystals to your Terraclaw Rock Bear. Lin Yuan's words caused Hu Tian's body to tremble again. Previously Hu Tian had been frightened, but now he was excited. The 500 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls made Hu Tian's mind go blank. Hu Tian was only a Class 4 creation master, and only Class 4 creation masters and above could use the elemental shellfish to concoct heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls. Among the three of them, only Old He had good luck and could concoct a few occasionally. As a Class 4 creation master, Hu Tian might not lack resources, but he had never obtained 500 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls in one go. After some calculations, Hu Tian felt that if he wanted to obtain these 500 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls, he would have to work hard for at least 5 to 6 years. Furthermore, he would have to work without rest for 5 to 6 years. Just because he was the first to swear loyalty, this youth in front of him had casually rewarded him with such massive resources. It was obvious that such resources were insignificant to Lin Yuan. Moreover, Lin Yuan was willing to let his Terraclaw Rock Bear absorb the law crystals after reaching the pinnacle of Myth 2. Veteran factions were not qualified to get involved with law crystals. Even among the top factions, only the top factions could request a few from the Moon Empress, the Bamboo Monarch, and the Chef Supreme. In the process of requesting, they would have to pay a huge price. The brocade pouch in his hands had a lot of law crystals. Even the current family heads of the top factions would not have the fortune to enjoy this brocade pouch of law crystals. Although he would lose his freedom, he would have to go into seclusion. Now Hu Tian was not at all resistant to pledging loyalty to Lin Yuan. He even felt that pledging loyalty to Lin Yuan was his good fortune and also his wisest decision. Upon seeing Lin Yuan reward Hu Tian, Feng Shuang and Old He could no longer hold it in. They hurriedly took a step forward and expressed their loyalty to Lin Yuan. Their words were more humble and pleasant than Hu Tian's. Lin Yuan also agreed to their loyalty to him. After they were done pledging loyalty to him, Lin Yuan asked Feng Shuang and Old He to summon their main fays like he had done with Hu Tian. Feng Shuang's main fay was a huge crocodile species fay. When summoning the fay, Feng Shuang had obviously made her fay mimic its appearance. As for Old He's main fay, it was a cyan purple snake species fay. End of this chapter. Chapter 1140. This snake species fay coiled around Old He's neck and stuck out its tongue. Upon seeing the color of its tongue, Lin Yuan knew that this snake species fay was venomous. Lin Yuan used true data again to check Feng Shuang and Old He's fays. Fay name: Giant Continental Emperor Crocodile, fay species: Muscular Crocodile / Large-Headed Crocodile, fay grade: Suzerain 5 out of 10, fay type: Water / Earth, fay quality: Myth I. Fay name: Burial Poison Silkworm, fay species: Viper / Dentist, fay grade: Suzerain 8 out of 10, fay type: Poison, fay quality: Myth I. After checking, Lin Yuan revealed a surprised expression. He had originally planned to arrange for Hu Tian, Feng Shuang, and Old He to work in the Swamp World. With 3 Class 4 creation masters working in the Swamp World, they could effectively use the resources of the Swamp World. At that time, Lin Yuan would send some cleverly trained 100 questions beasts to maximize the development of the Swamp World. With these creation master resources as a foundation, Lin Yuan could develop a powerful faction in the Swamp World. In addition, he could only be completely at ease if the 3 of them worked in the Swamp World. In the Swamp World, even if the 3 of them wanted to reveal Sky City's secret, no one could make them do so. Under the slaughtering sky butterfly's eyes, Hu Tian, Feng Shuang, and Old He could not even slack off. However, it was unknown if it was a coincidence that Hu Tian's Terraclaw Rock Bear was useful for the development of the Swamp World. Even Feng Shuang's Giant Continental Emperor Crocodile and Old He's Burial Poison Silkworm were very suitable for development in the Swamp World. Feng Shuang's Suzerain Class 5 / Myth I Giant Continental Emperor Crocodile was a giant land crocodile fay. If it did not mimic, it could reach at least 80 meters in size. At the same time, it comprehended the similar devour law and its exclusive skill Crocodile's Grave. The giant continental emperor crocodile could increase its physique and strength by devouring other crocodile species phase and crocodile species life forms. Although the giant continental emperor crocodile did not have any outstanding abilities or exclusive skills, it relied on its ability to increase strength by devouring its own kind. The giant continental emperor crocodile in the swamp world could quickly become stronger. After all, there were plenty of swamp crocodiles in the swamp world. Any random drop of anti-corrosive blood in the swamp would attract countless swamp crocodiles. In Lin Yuan's opinion, Old He's pinnacle suzerain/myth-eye burial poison silkworm was Wendy's best grade accelerator. At that time, Wendy could rely on the venom of the burying poison silkworm to increase her strength. The poisonous burial silkworm's venom could be secreted continuously as long as it had sufficient nutrients. It was tantamount to an inexhaustible resource. Even if Wendy's rank was higher than the burying poison silkworm, the venom of the burying poison silkworm would still be useful to Wendy's strength. After Feng Shuang and Old He summoned their phase, they held their breaths and waited for Lin Yuan to announce their rewards. After waiting for a long time, Lin Yuan did not say anything. At that moment, Lin Yuan turned his head and spoke to Hu Tian. Just by looking at his attitude, it was obvious that Lin Yuan's attitude toward Hu Tian was much better than his attitude toward the two of them. Old He originally thought that his creation master ability was the strongest among the three of them and that he would be valued more by Lin Yuan than Hu Tian and Feng Shuang. However, the reality was clearly not what Old He thought. This made Old He know that the youth in front of him did not care about the strength of the creation master's ability but more about his attitude. That was right. Why would a faction with a Class 5 creation master care about the ability of a mid-grade Class 4 creation master? Old He and Feng Shuang were a little discouraged, knowing that they could not get such a generous reward from Lin Yuan like Hu Tian. However, Feng Shuang and Old He were smart people, so they were not discouraged. Now that they were working under Lin Yuan, they would have plenty of opportunities to express their attitude and loyalty in the future. They had let Hu Tian take the lead this time, but they must not let Hu Tian take the lead every time in the future. After a few instructions, Lin Yuan formed a creation master team with Hu Tian, Feng Shuang and Old He. The team was codenamed Marsh. The three of them did not understand the meaning of the codename Marsh, but none of them dared to ask. Lin Yuan did not determine who among the three of them would be the manager and manage the other two members. This was because the three of them had the same authority and were on the same level. Only then could the relationship between the three of them change from a unilateral leader to one of mutual supervision. Everyone would find the other two's mistakes in order to please themselves. With such a relationship, the three of them were destined to work hard one after the other. After giving the instructions, Lin Yuan took out the treasure made of the treasure cave golden toad's skin and stomach sack and said to the three of them, "The three of you, come and stay in this spatial treasure for a while. The three of you can stay in this spatial artifact for a while. Later on, I will take you to a place where you can hide and work." Lin Yuan then injected spiritual power into the treasure made of the treasure cave golden toad's skin and stomach sack. Feng Shuang, Old He and Hu Tian were immediately taken in by Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the treasure cave golden toad artifact that contained the three Class 4 creation masters and thought to himself, this trip to Indigo Azure City was really worth it. It could be said that the gains of the three Class 4 creation masters were completely beyond Lin Yuan's expectations. Lin Yuan turned to look at Jing Kaiyan and said, "The Jing family will be managed by you from now on. You will be in charge of the Jing family from now on, but you shouldn't have an easy time in Indigo Azure City during this period. After the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce completely takes over the Jing family's online and offline luxury goods resources, I will send an expert to the Jing family to take charge." After saying that, Lin Yuan used the ethereal jellyfish's node teleportation to teleport to the royal capital and end this trip. Lin Yuan planned to send Duan He to take charge of the Jing family in the future. Firstly, as the number of the purple demon heads increased, its suppression on same grade phase would also be stronger. After returning to the Return from Faraway Manor, Jing Kaiyuan would soon bring the Miao family to visit. He could ask for a large amount of high-grade phase flesh from the Miao family and let Duan He's contracted purple demon devour it. He believed that after eating a large amount of high-grade phase flesh, The purple demon's strength would soon rise to the peak of myth 2. After completing the transaction with the Brahma insect cage, Lin Yuan had obtained 40,000 law origin crystals from the Brahma insect cage. Therefore, the law crystals containing pure power of the law would be enough for everyone in the Return from Faraway Manor to use for a long time. At that time, the purple demon would use the law crystals to rise all the way to the peak of myth 3, which would be enough to take charge of Indigo Azure City. It would not let the Zheng family, which did not have any experts, be bullied by the other two families. With the purple demon's invincible ability, as long as it did not encounter an emperor-class expert, the Zheng family would be safe and sound. End of this chapter. Chapter 1141. In addition, during this period Lin Yuan realized that Duan He was very homesick and would return to Indigo Azure City once a month. Duan He's home was in Indigo Azure City. After arranging for Duan He to oversee Indigo Azure City's Zheng family, Duan He could also go back home often and he wouldn't need to travel between two places. Moreover, Duan He and the Indigo Azure Guard captain had a good personal relationship. Duan He's presence in Indigo Azure City would also deepen the cooperation between the Indigo Azure Guards and Sky City. After Lin Yuan left, Xing Kaiyan, who was seated in the wheelchair, didn't come back to his senses for a long time. The scene quickly spun in Xing Kaiyan's mind from Lin Yuan's arrival to Lin Yuan's departure. Every single detail was going through Xing Kaiyan's mind. This included how Lin Yuan had subdued him, how he had broken through the situation and how he had controlled Feng Shuang, Old He and Hu Tian. Initially Hu Tian, Old He and Feng Shuang were forced to pledge their loyalty to him. Later on they competed over how they could be more loyal to him. It could be said that he had seen through people's hearts and human nature and could grasp them through means. Even now he felt that working for Lin Yuan was a bright way out. Xing Kaiyan could not help but sigh. Lin Yuan looked like he was only 17 or 18 years old. What kind of background did he have to be so outstanding at such a young age? Could it be that being outstanding had become his habit? After a while Xing Kaiyan said softly towards the door. Take me to the meeting hall. Call everyone in the old house. I want to have a meeting. As he spoke, Xing Kaiyan used his hand to touch his legs under the blanket. She was thinking about what she had to do to help Lin Yuan heal her legs and stand up again. When Lin Yuan had said that he could heal his legs, Xing Kaiyan hadn't fully believed him. However, after seeing the brocade pouch's law crystals, Xing Kaiyan fully believed that Lin Yuan had the ability to let him stand up again. After returning to the mansion, Lin Yuan found that Hu Quan, who had been in seclusion and had not participated in the Sky City Blood Oath Extreme Duel, had come out. At this time Hu Quan had a bitter face and was very depressed. Wen Yu on the other hand looked at Hu Quan helplessly. When Wen Yu saw that Lin Yuan had suddenly returned to the mansion, she immediately revealed a smile on her helpless face. Young master, have you settled the matters at Indigo Azure City? Lin Yuan nodded in response. In the future just hand over the matters of Indigo Azure City to listen. The Zheng family's third lineage harmed the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce. Listen will have to decide how to deal with the three lineages of the Zheng family. After saying that, Lin Yuan looked at the gloomy Hu Quan. What's wrong, Uncle Hu? Did you fail to weave the heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls? Don't be too concerned if the beads aren't successfully woven or if the heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls are damaged during the weaving process. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Hu Quan immediately rolled his eyes. The 107 heavenly maiden grade elemental pearls you gave me, as well as the heavenly maiden grade elemental pearl with the goddess's trident pearl, are supreme treasures. If such a treasure is damaged in my hands, I will never forgive myself. Furthermore, I, Old Hu, am a class 5 spirit craftsman. Even if I can't weave any patterns, it's impossible for me to make a mistake in weaving a bead bracelet. After saying that, he took out a brocade box and handed it to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan took the brocade box from Hu Quan and opened it. He was immediately stunned by the beauty of the ornaments in the brocade box. Lin Yuan saw that there was a string of long necklaces in the brocade box that had been woven using a winding technique. The completely jade-textured silk thread used for winding was a faint purple. This purple was not as bright as red sandalwood, but it had a kind of light luxury. There was a faint silver in the purple, and the wandering silver added a touch of vitality to the purple silk thread. It made the light purple jade-textured silk thread look crystalline. Huquan should have used the completely jade-textured wisteria wood as raw material and the wood weaving house centipede to create this light purple silk thread. As for the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls, there were 4 in a group and each group had 4 elemental pearls. A total of 108 heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls were divided into 27 groups. The completely jade-textured wisteria wood itself had the effect of guiding elemental energy. The wisteria wood was the most compatible with elemental energy among all the woods. The essence of the heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls lay in the purity of the elemental pearls. Now that the 27 groups of elemental pearls were woven together through the wisteria wood thread, it was as if the pearls of the 27 groups of elemental pearls were fused with each other. This fusion made the pearls of each type of elemental pearl no longer form a scene on their own. Instead, the scene blended together to form an image. At a glance, it was as if he had suddenly looked back under the wisteria tree 107 times, and on the last look, he had seen a goddess descending to the mortal world. After seeing the bead string in the brocade box, Lin Yuan could be sure that Huquan had not failed to weave it. Lin Yuan knew Huquan's original craftsmanship. When weaving this string of beads, Huquan's weaving ability had greatly improved compared to before. This meant that Huquan had made a breakthrough during his seclusion. This made Lin Yuan puzzled. Huquan's seclusion had been successful, so why did he still look depressed and melancholic? Uncle Hu, you used the completely jade-textured wisteria wood thread to combine the pearls of these heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls and used the fading pearls to set off the goddess Graupel's pearls. Uncle Hu's spirit craftsman ability is really getting stronger and stronger. Why is Uncle Hu sighing all of a sudden? Upon hearing that, the depressed expression on Huquan's face became a little aggrieved. How can Sky City not call me to participate in the Blood Oath Extreme battle? You guys have to pull me out even if I'm in seclusion. To me, becoming a Class 6 Spirit Craftsman is not as important as going to Sky City's Blood Oath Extreme battle with you guys. Upon hearing Huquan's words, Lin Yuan immediately knew why Huquan was depressed here. Lin Yuan had his own considerations for not calling Huquan at that time. First, a breakthrough in a Spirit Craftsman's strength often lay in grasping a moment of inspiration. Lin Yuan did not want to disturb Huquan's spirit craftsman ability improvement at a critical juncture. Second, the Blood Oath Extreme battle with the Zheng family was just a formality. Lin Yuan had absolute confidence in winning, and it was not related to Sky City's survival. Therefore Lin Yuan did not inform Huquan. However, Huquan's reaction showed that he had completely regarded himself as a part of Sky City. He wanted to advance and retreat with Sky City. Lin Yuan knew how much Huquan valued his strength as a spirit craftsman. Lin Yuan could not help but reveal a smile on his face. Hey, if something like this happens again, Uncle Hu will be at a critical juncture in seclusion. I'll definitely inform Uncle Hu. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Huquan hurriedly lowered his head and coughed. End of this chapter. Chapter 1142. Huquan naturally knew that Lin Yuan had good intentions in not calling him. However, Huquan, who had come out of seclusion in high spirits, learned from Wenyu that the Sky City had experienced such a huge storm, but as a member of the Sky City he had no sense of participation at all. This was not a good feeling. Huquan stepped forward and took the bead string from Lin Yuan's hand, helping him hang it around his neck. Lin Yuan, when I was weaving this string of beads, I experimented with countless types of completely jade-tempered wood. In the end, I found that the wisteria wood that was completely jade-made was the most effective. During the change of seasons, the human body will inevitably experience various symptoms such as dampness, heat, cold, and dryness. Although these symptoms are not pathogenic, they can make people weak. After wearing this bead, you won't have any symptoms like dampness, heat, cold, and dryness. In addition, nourishing the body with pure elemental energy can increase the adaptability of the body's cells to elemental energy. It can also be considered as increasing the body's resistance to elemental energy. In the beginning, Lin Yuan had only wanted to make this bead bracelet because he felt that it looked good. It just so happened that he had so many heavenly maiden-grade elemental pearls, so he could choose the rarest one to play with. But now it seemed that this plaything had other uses. Spirit Qi professionals were nourished by Spirit Qi and would no longer be infected with many illnesses. However, dampness, heat, cold, and dryness were symptoms that Spirit Qi professionals could not escape from. If you eat too much cold food, the moisture in your body will increase. When the humidity increased, it would be inconvenient to flush the toilet. In fact, these symptoms did not affect him. Lin Yuan had drunk the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar to wash away the impurities, and his constitution was much more outstanding than ordinary Spirit Qi professionals. Therefore, it was very difficult for him to get the symptoms of dampness, heat, cold, and dryness. In addition, the effect of the beads increasing the body's resistance to the 4 elements was far from the princess's dress. However, since this string of beads could be linked to healthcare, Lin Yuan saw a new business opportunity. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Hu Quan continue. "Young master, you can put this bead inside your clothes. Look at the end of this string of beads. I didn't weave elemental pearls on it and the string is very thin. This is also so that you won't be so conspicuous when you wear the beads inside your clothes. It will be more low-key." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan touched the beads on his neck and could feel Hu Quan's meticulousness in the details of the beads. Hu Quan suddenly thought of something and asked Lin Yuan. "Lin Yuan, how are those 35 brats that were sent to hide from the world doing their job? I've been in seclusion recently, so I didn't have time to care about them. Did they embarrass me?" Lin Yuan was a little embarrassed when he heard Hu Quan's words. It had indeed been a long time since he had entered the swamp world. However, Purple Firmament would report to him twice a day about the swamp world situation. In just a few days, his territory in the swamp world had changed greatly. Over the past few days, 35 spirit craftsmen and their contracted phase had built the basic building's framework. Among them, the Creation Master incubation room that Lin Yuan had requested for priority was almost complete. Therefore Lin Yuan said, "That's right. Those spirit craftsmen are very hardworking. They can basically work for up to 16 hours a day." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Hu Quan was relieved. "Yuan, I've been idle recently. Why don't I go to the swamp world and work with those brats for a while? I can also teach those little brats some spirit craftsman techniques." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment before replying. "Uncle Hu, if you have time, why don't you come with me tomorrow morning to train? I want to build a forbidden area in the Divine Wood Federation. I'll need Uncle Hu to bring some spirit craftsmen over to help." Upon hearing that, Hu Quan's interest was immediately piqued. He had mentioned to Hu Quan about going to the Divine Wood Federation to train. Although Hu Quan had become a Class 5 spirit craftsman, he still had not left the Radiance Federation. Therefore, Hu Quan was also very interested in the world outside the Radiance Federation. "Lin Yuan, I'll go get ready." "All right. Select another 50 spirit craftsmen from the Heavenly Craft Pavilion." Lin Yuan nodded in response. "Thank you, Uncle Hu." After Sky City won the Blood Oath Extreme Duel with the Zheng family, Sky City was destined to become more and more popular on the Star Web. At the same time, many factions would think of ways to cooperate with Sky City. Lin Yuan's mind was now on the Swamp World and the Divine Wood Federation. For example, some matters on the Star Web of Sky City required Wen Yu's help. After giving her a few instructions, Lin Yuan returned to his room. He then entered the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone. After entering the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone, Lin Yuan started to get excited. This was because he was going to deal with Han Tianhe Lu Yenshan, the geocentric dragon snail, and the ghost sky owl beast's bodies. At that moment, the golden lotus brocade pearls in the Spirit Lock Spatial Zone was diligently growing the child rabbits. The silver flower was constantly absorbing the coral jade with insect patterns. Red Thorn was devouring the platinum dimensional lifeform's flesh in big mouthfuls. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, Red Thorn immediately flapped the 3 pairs of wings on its back and flew over. "Lin Yuan, Red Thorn misses you." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan gently rubbed Red Thorn's face with the pad of his finger. "Red Thorn, you have to work next." After saying that, he released Lu Yenshan Han Tianhe, the ghost sky owl beast, and the geocentric dragon snail. Seeing this, Red Thorn circled around Han Tianhe, Lu Yenshan, the ghost chimera, and the dragon snail's bodies. "Lin Yuan, you want me to use the tip of the tongue of Relinquish to control these 2 bodies?" Lin Yuan nodded and asked Red Thorn. Is it too much for you to control these two emperor-level experts now? After hearing Lin Yuan's words, Red Thorn replied confidently. As long as they are dead, it won't be difficult for me to control them using the tongue of relinquish. With that, Red Thorn's dark red eyes suddenly turned scarlet. Then dozens of nibbling vines drilled out from the ground. These devouring vines grabbed Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's bodies like hands and sent them towards the two mouths of relinquish. As for the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky beast's bodies, Red Thorn didn't bother about them. When Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's bodies were sent to the side of the two mouths of relinquish, the tongue of relinquish in the mouths of relinquish suddenly extended out. The tip of her long and slender tongue directly pierced through the two bodies that had been split into two. It was like two pieces of watermelon piercing a toothpick. Immediately after, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's bodies trembled rapidly. End of this chapter. Chapter 1143. After trembling for a while, fine scars began to appear on Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's bodies. These nail scars moved towards the wounds on their bodies. The scars were like threads that stitched the two halves of the body together. Then Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's eyes suddenly opened. When Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan opened their eyes, they still had the same temperament as when they were alive. At a glance, Lin Yuan felt that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan had not been killed by the Void Shadow Devil at all. Instead, they were alive and well in front of him. At that moment, Lin Yuan knew what true data meant when it said that the tongue of relinquish was in a living state. The tongue of relinquish had activated Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's original minds and souls. It even allowed them to retain their memories and battle techniques from when they were alive. However, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's minds and souls were completely controlled by Red Thorn's tongue of relinquish. Under Red Thorn's instructions, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, who were still alive, arrived before the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky centipede respectively. He placed his hand on the geocentric dragon's nail and the ghost sky beast. A portion of the nail scars were transferred from Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan to the geocentric dragon's nail and ghost sky beast. These nail scars quickly stitched up the earth core dragon's nail and ghost sky beast's bodies, allowing them to survive. Finally, under Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's command, the geocentric dragon's nail and ghost sky centipede transformed into human forms. At this moment, Red Thorn's brows furrowed tightly. Lin Yuan, these two fellows still have a few myth breed spirits in their heads. These myth breed fays are trying their best to communicate with these two fellows' spirit and soul. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan also frowned and asked, "Can you sense what those myth breed fays are saying during the communication process?" Red Thorn closed its eyes and carefully sensed the messy information that Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan received with their spiritual powers. Lin Yuan, the fays in their bodies are very sad. They obviously know that the two of them are dead and under my control. They are desperate for revenge. As he spoke, the expression on Red Thorn's face turned completely cold. While Red Thorn was investigating the information that Lu Yenshan and Han Tianhe had received through their minds, it had heard quite a number of harsh curses. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan asked again, "Red Thorn, can you summon them from Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's spiritual energy?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's question, Red Thorn nodded. "Yes, but those myth breed fays will immediately attack us after being summoned," Lin Yuan said with a faint smile. "Red Thorn, you don't have to worry about this. Just control Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan to summon their fays." After saying that, Lin Yuan ordered the Void Shadow Demon in his shadow. "Shadow, kill the summoned fae as soon as possible." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's instructions, the Void Shadow Demon walked out of Lin Yuan's shadow and half knelt on the ground. "Master Ing awaits your orders." Under Red Thorn's control, the fays in Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's minds were all summoned out like swill. Before the summoned fae could react, the Void Shadow Demon jumped 7 times in the shadows. Then 7 bodies split into 2 appeared on the ground. 6 of the bodies were still in human form when they died. These 6 human bodies meant that the strength of these 6 fays was above Suzerain/Myth 2 when they were alive. There was also a beast body that was a sturdy saber-toothed thylacine. This saber-toothed thylacine's strength had also reached the pinnacle of Suzerain/Myth I and was just a step away from reaching Myth 2. Looking at the bodies on the ground that had been split into 2, Lin Yuan pondered slightly. These halved bodies had two uses. The first was to control these 7 bodies like how he controlled the geocentric dragon snail and the ghost sky beast. The 7 bodies would also become the combat power of Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, the 2 emperor-class humanoid weapons. The other method was to dig out the law crystals in these bodies. Then he would throw the bodies to the purple demon and help it increase its strength. With the geocentric dragon snail and the ghost sky beast, the role of these 7 myth breed phase was infinitely reduced. In fact, Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan were not willing to summon them in battle. However, these were indeed 7 myth breed phase. Each of them was an existence that could hold their own. Then Lin Yuan recalled that when he had encountered enemies in the swamp world, he had not been able to accurately estimate the number of enemies. If he had encountered a bunch of dimensional life forms below class 11, the geocentric dragon snail and the ghost sky beast would have been able to clear them out. However, if the other party had 2 class 11 dimensional life forms, they would likely be able to restrain the geocentric dragon snail and the ghost sky beast. Under such circumstances, the role of these 7 myth breed phase was revealed. With that in mind, Lin Yuan let Red Thorn control Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan to continue releasing Nail Scar. It repaired and controlled the 7 bodies that had been split into 2 on the ground. It could also be considered enriching the combat power of Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, the 2 emperor-class humanoid weapons. As for that effeminate man's body, Lin Yuan had no intention of taking it out. With Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan around, that effeminate man's role was infinitely reduced. Even if the effeminate man was still alive after being controlled by the tongue of relinquish, he was still a low-level class 4 creation master. Lin Yuan was also not willing to easily use the tip of the tongue of relinquish. Firstly, Lin Yuan did not lack creation master resources. Secondly, this kind of tongue of relinquish that could control emperor-class experts was simply too useful. He needed to reserve one for emergencies. Who knew when he would be able to pick up a dead immortal corpse? After Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan used Nail Scar to revive the 7 bodies on the ground, Lin Yuan stored all of them into his spiritual spatial zone. Including the geocentric dragon snail and the ghost sky beast, Lin Yuan revealed an excited expression. When he saw Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan, Lin Yuan revealed an excited expression. He now had 2 veteran emperor-class experts that he could use. Then Lin Yuan took out the green robust world crystal with the white deer inside and the blue vast water world crystal with the giant whale inside. He then summoned the princess. After being summoned, the princess looked at the robust world crystal and the vast water world crystal in Lin Yuan's hands and stood on her little feet anxiously. She looked as though she was about to pounce on them and eat them. Lin Yuan said helplessly, "These 2 world crystals were originally meant for you to eat. These 2 world crystals were originally meant for you to eat, so don't be anxious." When the princess had been absorbing the world source crystals, Lin Yuan knew that it would take about 7 days for her to absorb 1 world source crystal. Therefore Lin Yuan asked the princess, "Princess, how long do you need to absorb these 2 world crystals?" End of chapter. Chapter 1144. The princess said, "My princess Luo-kun can absorb these 2 world crystals at the same time. I'll be able to finish absorbing these 2 world crystals in 7 days. Master, when the time comes, 2 new sword skills will appear in the holy sword mode. The princess's dress will also be engraved with 2 new worlds of laws." Before Lin Yuan could rejoice, his phone rang. When Lin Yuan saw the call, he thought to himself, what should come has finally come. He had originally planned to let Red Thorn use the tip of the tongue of relinquish to control Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan and let the princess absorb the 2 world crystals he had obtained from the Miao family. He immediately went to the swamp world and released Feng Shuang, Old He and Hu Tian. Let them work in the swamp world and create something of value. However, Zheng Kaiyuan's call was within his expectations. However, it was faster than Lin Yuan had expected. Unexpectedly, the Zheng family had just lost the Blood Oath Extreme battle, and the Miao family had just lost 2 Emperor-class experts. Before everything had settled down, Zheng Kaiyuan wanted to pay him a visit. This meant that the Miao family had lost their patience with Zheng Kaiyuan. Or rather, the Miao family, who had lost 2 Emperor-level powerhouses, was already panicking. Presumably, Zheng Kaiyuan, who had lost the support of his family and 2 Emperor-class powerhouses and 2 world crystals, was having a hard time in the Miao family. After Lin Yuan picked up the phone, he heard Jing Kaiyuan's voice. "I'm Lord Lin Yuan. I wonder if it's convenient for you? I would like to pay a visit to your mansion. I also want to bring my two cousins Miao He and Miao Zhua. Cousin Miao Zhua offended you at the Nix assembly. He wants to apologize to you and ask for your forgiveness." When Jing Kaiyuan mentioned Miao Zhua, his tone became more serious. This action made Lin Yuan reveal a look of understanding. Jing Kaiyuan must have hoped that he would reject Miao Zhua and Miao He's request to come to the return from faraway manor. The reason why Jing Kaiyuan deliberately emphasized Miao Zhua's name when he spoke was to evoke his memory and arouse his disgust. It seemed that Jing Kaiyuan was afraid that Miao Zhua and Miao He would form a relationship with him. However, after the Blood Oath Extreme battle, Jing Kaiyuan's only use was to obtain more supplies from the Miao family. However, Miao Zhua could also accomplish what Jing Kaiyuan had done. Even Miao Zhua, who used to be the young master of the Miao family, could do it better than Jing Kaiyuan. Therefore, the current Jing Kaiyuan was useless to Lin Yuan. At that moment, Lin Yuan suddenly heard a faint cough from Jing Kaiyuan's side. This light cough was clearly a reminder for Jing Kaiyuan not to speak carelessly. Jing Kaiyuan must have been on speakerphone when he called him. At that moment, Lin Yuan spoke as though he had not heard Jing Kaiyuan's signal at all. Of course. After looking at the time, Lin Yuan realized that it was already past 3 p.m. If Jing Kaiyuan brought the Miao family over immediately, then he could still make some arrangements in the swamp world later today. Tomorrow morning he could open the space tunnel to the Divine Wood Federation in the underground space. He went directly to the Divine Wood Federation through the space tunnel to train. After thinking about this, Lin Yuan said, "That's right. You can come over now. I have time now." After saying that, Lin Yuan did not talk nonsense with Jing Kaiyuan and immediately hung up the phone. The Miao family must be very clear where he lived, and there was no need for him to tell them the address. Jing Kaiyuan's heart sank when he heard Lin Yuan say "of course" on the other end of the phone. Jing Kaiyuan knew that after Lin Yuan said that, he no longer had the ability or the opportunity to stop the Miao family from contacting Lin Yuan. Jing Kaiyuan only hoped that Lin Yuan could postpone the visit and give him some time to sort out his thoughts. The Jing family losing to Sky City in the Blood Oath Extreme fight was something that Jing Kaiyuan had not expected in advance. It could be said that the Miao family's loss to the Blood Oath Extreme fight had ruined all of Jing Kaiyuan's original plans. Jing Kaiyuan now urgently needed time to think of a way to survive in the Miao family. However, Lin Yuan obviously could not give him this time. Hearing the busy tone on the other end of the phone, before Jing Kaiyuan could come back to his senses, a foot ruthlessly kicked Jing Kaiyuan's body, sending him flying far away from the wheelchair. His body almost fell from the wheelchair to the ground. The sudden kick made Jing Kaiyuan, who was already in a bad mood, immediately angry. Jing Kaiyuan glared at Miao He only to hear Miao He say indignantly, "Jing Kaiyuan, we are not fools. Why did you say Miao Zhua's name so loudly just now? It's too stupid to play any tricks now. Because your grandfather Han and grandfather Lu both died in the Extreme Arena. After Grandpa Han and Grandpa Lu died, they were even blasphemed by the tens of thousands of pairs of eyes in the Extreme Arena spectator stands. They didn't even have the slightest bit of dignity as emperor-level experts. In order to save you and Miao Ji, our Miao family took 2 world crystals. Just how black is your heart? You're still stirring up trouble at this time." Miao He's voice was very loud and every word he said shook the heavens. These few words made Miao He feel a lot better. When Miao He was the second young master of the Miao family, he was suppressed by Miao Zhua and didn't have much of a presence. But now that he had become the Miao family's young master, he had suffered a lot from Jing Kaiyuan. Moreover, Jing Kaiyuan had cheated him in the Spirit Food Pavilion and nearly caused him to lose his position as the Miao family's young master. Miao He hated Miao Zhua very much and his words were filled with resentment towards Jing Kaiyuan. From his words, he didn't treat Jing Kaiyuan as a member of the Miao family. At the same time, when Miao He mentioned Miao Ji, he didn't address her as auntie. Instead, he directly called Miao Ji by her name. This meant that Miao He didn't have the slightest bit of respect for his elder, Miao Ji. Right now, Jing Kaiyuan's role wasn't complete yet. However, Miao He was very smart and specifically mentioned Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan. Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan's deaths were a huge blow to his grandfather. Mentioning Han Tianhe and Lu Yenshan would instantly incite his grandfather's dissatisfaction towards Jing Kaiyuan. Therefore, even if he kicked Jing Kaiyuan now, he wouldn't be blamed at all. As expected, Miao Zhinshan immediately revealed a sorrowful expression after hearing Miao He's words. Miao Zhinshan looked at Jing Kaiyuan with a gaze that made Jing Kaiyuan's hair stand on end. After a long time, Miao Zhinshan spoke in a hoarse voice. Jing Kaiyuan, go to the Moon Empress disciple and say something good about Ahi. Also, plead for Ajua and strive to get the Moon Empress disciple to forgive Ajua. Do you understand? You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.